Lorin, welcome, man. We're so stoked to have you. Thanks for coming on Going Again podcast.
And I just got what the going again. I just sort of was thinking about that. It's going again as in we're going again.
That's going right. Again, yeah. The film,
as opposed to we're going. It seemed to be more that it was about going again from the COVID, and now we're starting to go again. It's the double meaning of it, I guess.
It is a bit of a double meaning.
We started before COVID.
Yes.
And then we rebranded once we come out of COVID, so we're going again.
What was it before COVID?
What was it before COVID?
I think it was called Before COVID.
The Andrew and Randy before COVID
That's
show.
prescient.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
We went to Wuhan. We came back. We said, let's do this.
I think it was called No Blind Eye.
Yeah, well, that's Mom's thing. Yeah, that was another thing. But okay. Lorin, before we get started, I don't know how serious you were, but I did bring.
I time myself with it.
You have to pace?
Yes.
I prefer not to pace. I prefer to start early and end late. I go all day.
Oh, do
you ready?
Yeah.
You tell me when.
Okay.
And we crack.
All right.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Welcome. So you guys are related?
Yeah.
Same mother. Same different mothers? Same
Somehow
mothers.
I knew this is how this was going to go.
Yeah. He swooped in real fast.
I love your shirt. Show the people how to pick up chicks. I mean,
that's you over there.
You could have your own show.
Right?
Yeah. There are entire websites
It's a
dedicated
3-step
to
program
that.
for sure, though.
Honestly, I didn't even know until you came, and that's it. That's
brilliant.
So why am I here? Why?
Well, that's why we were going to ask you.
Okay.
You heard we were having a podcast. You knocked on the door and you said, "Let's do this."
There was a guy outside. Said, "Come on in." Totally. Somebody canceled.
Yeah.
I had no idea what was going on.
Lorin, I have been looking forward to having you here for so long.
It has been a long, long time.
It has. So good.
That was why I was curious. So you were going to do it before COVID started,
Correct.
and the two of you,
Correct.
and the theme was going to be. Was it mostly about getting into stunt people? I started in stunts.
Not really. You did? Really?
That's one of the ways I started, yeah.
Oh, we didn't want a stunt person this time.
Yeah, what the fuck?
That's your pool of people.
Well,
we got the stunt guy, we got my kid.
Joe Rogan speaks to his buddies who are comedians between all the other really interesting guests.
Absolutely.
And we do the same thing. We speak to stunt people when we don't have an interesting guest.
Right. So here I am.
Yeah, exactly. No, really, we wanted to we just wanted to speak to our friends from the industry and I mean.
And otherwise.
Yeah, just kind of, we got a lot of interesting friends and we have a pretty cool dynamic, I think. You know?
Yeah.
So, okay, when you say you started out in stunts, tell me about that.
Well, so I'm Lorin Raine. My profession now mostly is assistant directing. I try to work half the year doing that. Yeah. And then I try to work on other projects myself. I write. I want to be a director. I want to see where all that's going with that. I started off acting. That was sort of I acting and singing. I'm classically trained actor, opera.
No shit.
And that's where I sort of.
I say I'm jealous of that voice?
That's the voice that comes in.
Wow.
When before school, I imagine it was a much higher voice.
It was before my testicles dropped.
Yeah.
And then it came, which was not as long ago as you think it would be.
And he's tall enough for it to have him drop on your head
or your chin, but no. And then and I ended up going to a school of the arts down the street just by happenstance. But they did film there and all that kind of stuff, and that's where I got sent to Queen's University, where I met tons of Queen's University people who are, there's so many of them that we know today,
right?
That are from Queens.
So, but the art school you went to was in Toronto. You were raised in Toronto.
I went to it was Scarborough.
Okay.
The Scarborough School of Arts.
Right.
We started it. This group, this comedy group that we started back there, which is where my career sort of started doing stuff, was from high school, and I hung out with all those guys and we did comedy and we toured across North America.
Amazing.
And then we came back, and then I got into acting because they wanted commercial work, comedians and stuff. They're always looking for new faces.
Right.
Totally.
And this is definitely a new face.
And this is a new face. This is a face for radio, as you said. And
you're beautiful.
Thank you very much. It's weird it's so weird hearing your voice so close into your head.
But don't you have my voice in your head anyway?
It does. When I do certain things, I do hear you, much like my father.
Yeah. Keep going. School.
So school. Then I went to Queens.
Yeah.
And met a whole bunch of people there. And then I came back from Queens and kept touring with the comedy troupe. And then I got into doing commercials and doing a lot of commercials. And I was a beer guy for a while. There was a campaign called Mike's Labatt Genuine Draft. I was like one of the faces of those guys. I was
kidding.
Mike's Beer Rules. I'd go around.
The things you learn about your friends.
Yeah.
So now, what was the comedy troupe? What was it called?
The comedy troupe was called the Royal Blood Comedy Troupe.
Okay. Now, was it stand up? Was it
a sketch
comedy
that we wrote? Yeah.
Okay.
We wrote stuff. We sang stuff.
Like the SCTV type stuff.
Yeah, we were sort of inspired at the time by the Kids in the Hall, who had just happened before us.
Right.
And then another group came out called The Vacant Lot, who went on the Rivoli. Did you guys ever go to the Rivoli and see comedy?
I know of the Rivoli.
I've been, but not for comedy.
It was like a comedy hub. And Mark Breslin had a place called, he was trying to get sketch comedy up and going, called the Sketch Pad or something like that. Okay. And so we got into that. And then
that's cool.
You realize once, because of my stats, I got an agent, and then my stats basically put me into bodyguard. And
yes.
Like I'm 6'5", I'm 280 pounds. Yeah. I'd be going with Rob, who I listened to that podcast as well. That's the guy I'm going against, but I don't look like Rob.
No, nobody looks like Rob.
Nobody looks like Rob.
You need some more tattoos.
Right?
Robbie Archer.
I need some more canvas to put those tattoos on. But I'd go to these auditions, and it was like people who, like, I'm just dense. I'm 280 pounds.
Yeah.
But I don't look 280 pounds. Like I think Rob's 280 pounds. Didn't he say in the podcast?
Something like that too.
Yeah.
He got up.
He was 320.
Yeah, he was up there, he said, and he's now down, sort of. Yeah.
That's a lot on your heart. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so from that I went. I realized I wanted to start doing more. I'd always wanted to do behind the scenes stuff. I'd been writing plays and stuff since I was in grade 5, grade 6, and putting stuff together. And then we'd write and direct stuff for the comedy troupe, and then I thought, I actually went to Queens for film. I applied inadvertently for a grant which then it was the OFDC, the Ontario Film Development Corporation, that turned into the OMDC or blah blah blah. So the day I was going to, we'd put all these resumes, me and my girlfriend at the time, and I picked up what was called the Job Classifieds, which was a independent paper with job classified ads. Picked it up, and the phone rang as I picked up the paper and said, "Well, I'm not going to get a film job." And they phoned up and said, "Well, you applied for this grant, so we've got an interview for that." And I went, "Oh, okay."
No, that's wicked.
But I didn't know I'd applied for the grant. I guess the receptionist, that's all right to say, receptionist put my resume in a pile, thinking it was for this grant application.
Oh, interesting.
So I went I went there and I went like, "Oh yeah, the grant," and and they brought me in, and there was that faithful moment. She said, like, "What do you think you might want to do?" This is a woman interviewing Victoria, who was at the time very. Anyway, she said, "What would you think you might want to do? You could do this thing here, or you could do this thing here." And I went like, "Well, I'd like to be on set," which put me into this AD pool and put me into E&G, which was that old show many, many moons ago.
Yeah, I was on E&G.
You must have been, yeah.
Yeah, several times.
I don't know it.
Yeah, it's
electronic news gathering.
Back in the time.
It was about a news crew.
Art Hindle, you'd know Art Hindle, Sarah Botsford, Mark Humphreys, and a bunch of cool people.
Including your dad.
Cool.
And what did you do on that?
Stunts.
Yeah. But that was McLean, wasn't it?
Dwayne?
Larry.
Larry McLean?
I think so. Yeah, I was a performer. Right. I would come out and do episodes as a performer.
Then over at Channel 9.
Wherever.
Yeah, that was the studio was that old Channel 9, the CFTO building out at Channel 9.
I don't remember.
Yeah, Mark.
I don't know.
Anyway.
You remember names of people in it. I don't even remember where I went to work on it.
I remember too much, for sure.
Well, you're a second AD.
So, so I make this decision. They go like, well, you could do this. Assistant directing had no idea what it was doing, and that shaped everything.
Yeah.
Those moments in life where the universe splits off.
Yeah.
That put me over there, and everything since then there's been some relation to E&G.
Oh, interesting.
For some reason. I mean, even it was just one of those shows. There wasn't many shows going on at that time. That's 1990. Mm-hmm. There was a few big shows, and from all that, and people have passed since then that we've all known. There's all kinds of cool people that were involved in that, and some went to IA, some went to NABET, and they sort of ran the things, and like Brian Ford and Chris Faulkner and stuff like that. That's
just showing off now.
Yeah, he's killing it.
But it was sort of it's interesting the way the world splits.
Yeah.
So I went to AD, and then I went back to acting. Then I come back, and I realized that I'm not going to get a whole lot of parts. I don't really want to be an actor. I'm trying to get my credits to get into ACTRA. That's when I do some stunt performing. Okay. Not very much.
Very cool. How many? Well, I think you only need 3 now, right?
I needed 6 at the time.
Would have been 6.
At the time, it's 6.
That's right.
And if you didn't get it within 2 years, they'd take one away.
Yes, you had. Yeah, so I had stuff because I'd sung on different things, and then I got into. I then sort of did a whole roll of them, a whole bunch of them, getting into that, so that shaped things. One of the first credits was Roy Anderson, mm-hmm. and I was. They needed a Randy Quaid double.
Okay.
Who's the same height as me exactly.
Haven't you doubled Randy? Which is hilarious if he's the same fucking height as
I once doubled Randy
Lorin.
Quaid, but I was driving a car.
Okay.
I sat on
like
a
in a sidecar.
That would make more sense.
But he's exactly my height. And this is before I guess he went a little loopy after that.
He did.
Shout out to Loopy.
Apparently.
I'm this far away from it. But it was like, look, it was interesting because basically Roy said, well, if you'll shave your head, you can get it. And I was like, I need the credit. And I thought, I could be a stunt guy. I did karate growing up and stuff. So I did the one thing. I took a couple of squibs and thrown over a table because I'd done karate. I thought I knew what it is. And then I went like, I think it's really too easy to hurt yourself.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because we don't throw people over tables in karate school.
That's true.
There's a lot less of that. It's more of an MMA before
you go out after class.
That's right. So I got. So that was my very brief foray into it. I do a whole bunch of acting stuff, and then I realized I want to make stuff. So I'm trying. I want to make. And the ADing world is pretty interesting. I'm a second AD.
It's extremely intense. How do you find time?
This is the only job in film I wouldn't be able to do.
The second AD.
Yeah. See, I remember everything I need to remember.
Yes.
He remembers everything he needs to remember, the DP and so on.
Yeah.
You remember everything. All of it.
Everything. It's like,
crazy.
It's sort of a curse. It's not savant for sure, but it's a curse.
Well, it is. I mean, it blows my mind. Like the AD world just blows my mind.
Well, that was what I wanted to learn it all, like that, and the AD is.
That's how you do it.
So for the if anybody watches this, ADs, we were sort of I call it project management,
right?
A little bit. We take a script and we dissect it into all its little bits and pieces. We have the stunt stuff, we have the acting stuff. We put it all together into this pile, along with tons of other people. But we're trying to delegate and organize how we're going to shoot it. Now,
most people, if I try to describe what a first AD is or a second AD is in terms of describing my day at work, for instance, if I'm telling a friend or anybody, the first thing they think of is that it's like literally an assistant to the director.
Yes.
So how do you define the difference?
Well, it's certainly part of the directing team. Mm-hmm. And the first assistant director is the assistant to the director, but it's less laundry than an assistant might do. So you're basically taking everything that she's saying as the director and you're putting it into a pile and you're keeping track of everything, and then we're coming back and making a plan based on what she wants to direct and how she wants to direct.
Okay.
So, but the project management is pretty close for people who aren't in the film world.
Right.
they sort of like, if you're the project manager, you're going to do a rollout of computers. You need somebody who knows everything, where everything is in the whole. You do a national roll. I used to do computer stuff, so we used to do national rollouts to every Bank of Montreal or whatever that we were doing. Somebody has to keep a track of everything. So
Okay.
So would you say the first AD is something like a foreman on the floor, running the floor?
once it goes,
Yes.
So I do first ADing as well, but it is a different job. And the second AD is the first AD's assistant, and more people. So the director says to the first AD, "This is the way I want to do it," and then the first AD says, "This is how we're going to do it," in the timeline of it, and then the second AD keeps track of everything.
Right.
So what I sort of realized from my strength was I don't forget anything. I mean, I forget stuff and I fuck up a lot, but I don't like.
We've talked about it.
I let things slip a lot.
We're all men
for
here.
sure. So we like, you have to know everything. So I sort of I just wanted to learn everything.
Right.
But to me, you have to be like born and bred for this job. Like I literally always think that these guys, you guys all have like the most intense job. And I'm always like, man, they work so fucking hard.
Yeah, there must be people that come into this world of a second AD
Yes.
and leave almost immediately.
It's certainly some people aren't good at, like, at the essence of it, anybody can do it. Like any trained monkey could do it for sure. So which is just you're taking information and you're putting that information, and it's organized, and the director and the first assistant director and the producers and stuff have done this, and you're just putting it out for everybody.
But you're being bombarded constantly by people trying to ask you questions.
That's right. So what had happened for me was...
Can you rap me?
Yes.
Can you?
He didn't want to talk about rap times.
It's funny. I was trying to think of what in the world would anybody want to hear from me about? So I was thinking, and rap times are something that we should talk about for sure.
Yeah, so it's the weirdest thing. People try to get work. They fight to get the work, and then one of the first questions they ask is, when are we wrapped?
When are we done?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Unless we're after 9-12 hours, something like that, then we're then we hide in the corner.
That's right. Have we seen any of them?
Don't rap me.
I think they're gone. That is an interesting, but certainly that's well. So you keep on going on this for 2 seconds. So you go, I want to learn. I want to learn it all. You can, at this point, the universe splits again. You want to go, like, do you want to go make your own films, or do you want to go make your own TV shows?
Right.
And then because of the personality that I am, I said, no, I want to keep on learning, which is why I'm only a second AD. Which
don't ever say only, because if anyone knew how hard you worked, you cannot qualify it. They would pay you.
So maybe they don't want to know.
That's awesome.
But it's become a more interesting job. So one of the things, so I went in and I basically said, well, the acting's no good, and then I went into the assistant directing, and that became no good. That became like, oh fuck, I don't really care about this anymore, and then just at the right time, video on demand started happening. And I said, oh, that's going to be cool. One day we're going to be like in Star Trek, and you just push the thing and up will come all the show, and someone's going to put all these shows onto it.
Yeah.
And then Netflix came out with their thing and said, okay, and which was sort of borrowed off of this British model, which is short series, 10 episodes or small things, but that are all connected, that tell a bigger story. And we had sort of missed that for years. The E&G, it was, these are these bottle shows or capsule shows that you could just go on and do the whole thing, and they're boring as fuck. Like
HBO sort of started that, didn't they?
And HBO starts The Sopranos, right?
Yeah,
Sopranos puts them on the map. Yeah, the HBO does The Sopranos, and it's an overarching story. There's different things happen in it, and then
which is a beautiful thing.
Oh, and that changed everything. And suddenly it gave me focus, because I was sort of done with it. I was done with the acting. I was done with all kinds of stuff. I was good at coffee, so I was thinking maybe I'd become a barista.
Yeah.
There really was that sort of choice. And then Anne with an E hit me for me, which was, did you guys do Anne with an E, any of that stuff?
No, and we'd like to speak to you about that.
It changed everything. Basically,
It's a
little
pretty
girl
heavy stunt show, right?
It was a lot of stunt. Who was the stunt? It was
Allison Reed.
Allison Reed.
Yeah.
It was the so Netflix comes along and decides you could do 10 hours of story, and then I was sort of giving up. I'd done some cool little shows. I did what was that Jay Baruchel one that I did? Anyway,
the one where he goes on the dates.
yeah,
The monsters and the whatever.
single.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That was a good one.
It had started to evolve that way. It was Maxime Grand from the Simpsons that was one of the producers from it, and it was working with royalty with him, and the showrunner was the youngest guy from Saturday Night Live. Oh. And Jay was great, and all these people were great, and that suddenly went things started this bigger overarching thing started to happen, and then I hit Anne with an E a couple of years later. I was going to look at my resume before I came here. I should have done that, so I would know what I've actually worked on. Suffice it to say, we get to Netflix, and the Anne with an E is 10 episodes. It's all one story, and the continuity of stuff is suddenly changes where assistant directors, and especially in the second AD for me, you have to know 10 hours of stuff.
Wow.
So you've got...
And you're block shooting?
And no, you're doing one after the other after the other.
Okay.
So different teams going, but you if you want to know what episode 1 is, you also if you're doing episode 7, you have to know everything that happened in 1 to 6.
Yeah.
Even though the directors may not have been there for the whole time, and we had fantastic directors. And so what happened? So I go, and it was more Moira Walby Beckett, who's show running the whole thing, who wrote it all, who understood what the whole 10 hours was. She wrote every episode. She was there for the whole thing. And finally I go oh man, finally it's arrived. This is what I want to do. 10 hours of stuff. All this to say is you had to know hours and hours and hours of stuff. And my job suddenly changed at that point. It became, there's call times, yes, there was equipment things that you had to know, but then you also had to know story.
Right.
You had to know what happened with what Anne did in episode 2 that you didn't shoot. You have to know what she did, because it plays again when she picks up the thing in 7. You're tracking everything. You're tracking every person, everything, and then I go okay, now my brain can actually thrive a little bit more.
That's wicked.
Which is knowing everything.
Now, do you get together with the other second AD and chit chat and what did you shoot and what did you do?
A little bit. I get on now with all these shows. I get on to the rushes and I watch the rushes, which again ups the interest level on what you're doing.
It's great. I love that the new all new shows are sending me rushes now. I get them.
It's
on the emails.
It's key.
Yeah, it's huge.
I think, and even just seeing as far as how it goes and how many times they're, how many takes they do. You're tracking everything now.
It's got to be. It's got to be tough for a director to come in cold on the 4th episode or the 7th, like you say, and you've shot 6 episodes prior.
Yeah.
And your showrunner, of course, is keeping it all intact, and you are.
Yeah.
And this person comes in cold, and you take meetings and say, you can't do that.
Yeah. How does the consistency work of transferring from one director to the next? Yet you've block shot already, episode 9.
Well, if this show didn't block shoot, but
I see.
It's a valid question.
Sorry. On which show we didn't block? Anne with an E. No.
Oh, you didn't. Oh, sorry. Okay.
No, it was, I think 11 day episodes. It was, what did we, yeah, I certainly, you have to work with the other teams, for sure.
You see, Andrew and I asked these questions. We already know everything.
Yes.
Yeah, we're asking for the benefit of the listener.
Okay, because I don't know.
Yeah. Lorin. Fuck, man. No, I don't know. For some reason, I thought you were saying because of that Anne with an E was sort of starting that.
It was this 10 episode arc. For sure, that had done as this one story that kept through, and I'd done other things. I'd done stuff with Ken Finkelman, and he was a real master at keeping 10 episodes altogether, and that we did block shoot. Now
we just did a show, you and I, together. The Way Home.
Yes.
On Hallmark Channel. Started a couple weeks ago.
The 15th, it aired in the States on Sunday, and then the Canadian premiere is the 22nd of January.
Okay.
This weekend.
But Andrew, your question is valid. You're shooting the 9th episode. You're block shooting everything. That's crazy to keep all that stuff in your head.
Yeah, and you basically have to bring the directors in if they haven't done it before.
Just really briefly explain what block shooting is, just so people know.
Just shooting more than one. So you've got 10 episodes. You could shoot all 10 episodes at once. You could prep everything, and then say today we're going to do a bit from here, a bit from episode 1, a bit from episode 10, and you do that for sure. There's some shows that do, but for the sake of continuity and resources and the way that these shows arc over 10 episodes or 10 hours, you're probably going to go back to the interior podcast studio a number of times. You might as well do more than one episode there.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then the way that we do it in Canada, because Americans can't do the same thing, where different directors can do different episodes in Canada, which is a little bit different from the Americans. Because the American directors, they essentially have to do, if they do episode 1, anything episode 1, they generally have to do.
Oh, so in the event you're shooting something during episode 4 that has an episode 1 moment,
yeah,
the director from episode 1 is supposed to be shooting that?
It's supposed to be shooting that, yeah.
And this is just a union thing?
It's a guild thing that you get to shoot your whole episode. Now you can also say no,
right?
Somebody else can do it, but it's harder, and you don't want to do it so much. So the good thing about block shooting too is you can do a bunch of them and get them out of the way. Sort of interesting that way.
Interesting.
I mean, when I do stunting with block shooting, I often speak to the director of that particular episode. I mean, I have to, despite the fact another director is directing it today.
Yes,
I speak to the director of that episode, and then I confer with the director and say this isn't really what he meant.
Right.
And we move on, see what happens.
Yeah, and The Way Home is an interesting one because we had Grant Harvey, who was he did the first one and the first block and the third block, and so he was able to carry on stuff. But other blocks directors just popped right into it.
Mm-hmm. Now Grant was back for the third because of a mishap of sorts, right?
He was going to do the fourth block.
So
they brought him up earlier again because he was able to. He knew what the show was.
Sure.
And that the show runs basically they do tone meetings.
Right.
So a tone meeting is they go through the showrunner's where you want to be. Right. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, me too.
That's the world, and that's where second ADing does help that. I mean, that's sort of the long roundabout way of knowing everything. The next step for me, not the next step, but that's where I want to keep going towards, and gravitating that towards that art.
And the tone meeting itself, like I've never sat in on a tone meeting.
No.
I imagine that it is to keep some kind of consistency. That's what that means.
Well, the consistency becomes the showrunner, which is different. The showrunners there's a consistency of look and feel that showrunners used to have, and showrunners now, my experience with these showrunners is there's the look and the story, and they're the only ones that may be telling the story for the whole 10 hours.
Right. Yeah.
So that where
Keeping everything in line.
That's right. So where I found it very interesting is the second AD, which is this unique role when I first AD, you go onto first AD is the director tells the first AD a plan. The first AD then says, this is the way I'm going to want to do the plan. And then they shoot it. And that's when they become a foreman to make that plan happen. But during that time, and that point, you're going right ahead. You got to keep on going. The great thing about where I keep on going back to second ADing for me is you suddenly have to take over the plan and all the things that change different stunt people, different stuff every day, and then you suddenly get to track story, and you get to have all these other meetings and other things that are going on. Like, it's really freaking interesting now.
Do you find tracking the story makes you a better writer? Has it informed your own?
It's changed a lot for sure.
Or just informs your opinion about that showrunner?
That too.
Well, yeah, you get to see there's a real art going on to it, and we've done so. Like we had Damien Kindler on October Faction, and he was a really interesting guy, and is a really interesting guy, as far as learning the story that he was telling. Everybody's telling these stories differently, and the showrunners are keeping them on track differently.
Do you think that a showrunner is better if they keep everyone on sort of like a peripheral, like an outer edge, or is it better that they collaborate and listen? I mean, I think collaboration makes a lot of sense, but a showrunner knows their story so well that hearing too much opinion might veer them.
I think the showrunner is what like auteur directors used to be. That's why I like it as well. Mm-hmm. So you think of those old school directors that ran every little bit, and it became their show. And then suddenly the directors, like over the time, directors became less important in some ways.
Really?
Yeah.
Depending.
I always found directors of commercials are more like
Auteurs.
No.
Oh.
They're more like waiters
Yes.
taking orders. There's someone in an office that comes out the odd day when wears nice shoes and tells them what shot to make.
Yeah.
Movies, the director is more auteur, where he makes decisions writing wise, directing wise.
Yeah.
Like he can change things. In television, it's a writer's medium, and most showrunners would be writers.
Yeah.
So the director is.
It's a different art for sure.
Yeah.
Which is why they have to be in simpatico with the showrunner. But the showrunner is like the big director for TV. For sure.
Yeah. They have this vision. They wrote it. They did this and that.
Still and then like The Way Home, Hallmark has lots to say about every little thing.
Without a doubt. They're coughing up the money.
They have a system too. They have like a system in how they sell this stuff.
So you have to stay. You have to. It's a dance for sure. And with an E in that case, that was CBC and Netflix. They also had a stuff and different historically. Like HBO used to give the showrunners just say like do it and let us know how it goes. And it's certainly a bigger production. The Hallmarks and stuff, they want to control what it's a product for them for sure.
Yeah.
And they know it sells, and they know they've got so much data going on of what sells, what works, and what doesn't work.
Do you find there's some heads knocking between showrunners and directors of like directors de jour? They want to come in and exercise their own creativity. That doesn't necessarily fly with a showrunner's.
I guess that you knock some of that stuff out of the way when with experience, right? I mean, you start to realize like your role. If you come in with all these big ideas and all these things and trying to make suggestions,
right?
The showrunner's going, why do we have this guy here?
Right.
I don't know.
There's this weird overlap that's going on for sure in the film world, isn't it? In that the directors, the thought of a director is they get the ultimate control, and it isn't that like that's where the collaboration comes for sure. They become the showrunner's arm of how to do that, because the showrunner's got this overarching vision, or showrunners, like in the case that we had.
But at the same time, you also have another director on set, the director of photography.
Yeah.
So the director may say, "This is what I need to see." Somebody else is designing that.
And a decent showrunner, I would imagine, is put their trust out there. Like that's what you want. You want someone who trusts.
Yeah, you're trying to hire some. It would be hard for me to speak to it for sure. And they're all differently. And I've since Anne, I've now one of the things I really like hanging out with showrunners and learning and
hell yeah,
because I'm
man.
learning. I want to learn story.
Yeah. I wish that I got to do that as a stunt guy, but really, I'm just over there getting shot.
Yeah.
So
Running into
I don't have that privilege.
buildings and yeah. It's
Not on everything anyway.
I asked the showrunners from The Way Home if they wanted to come here.
They should.
The answer was yes, and I've sent an email. I'm waiting to hear back, but
They'd be. I mean, they're fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be amazing.
it's just a really interesting art that's happening now with it.
So how does one become a showrunner? You write something and
You got to write something and put it and get somebody to do it, and you have to do small stuff, and you have to find good actors to do it to begin with.
Yeah.
So are you creating?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. My ultimate would be, I write quite a bit, and I come up with lots of ideas.
Yeah, tell us some so we can own them.
Yeah, because I saw that thing that I signed.
Yeah. Thanks for signing.
That's what it's funny. I was thinking like I write down stuff like I've got like I do a lot of these pads.
Yeah.
And it's just going and going
As
and
do
going.
we,
Like, I can't fucking tell any of that.
Come on.
That's gold.
That's
That
totally.
is gold.
Yeah, never give it away. No.
So there's really not much to talk about.
We're so glad you could come.
Lorin, in my opinion, like I've said this a million times, is when your ADs are good, you have a good day. I mean, in my world, I suppose if your stunt coordinator is great too, that helps. But we're constantly being directed by our ADs, and between you and Michael, my God, you got a professional. You got the best. It's the best.
It is a very good team, actually, Michael.
It is. It is so good.
There's a lot of stuff Michael doesn't want to do that I really love to do.
Okay.
So that's like, I mean, and anything is good. Anything is all about team, isn't it?
You guys are a breeze, man.
Yeah, but I'm with Andrew. You guys are so even. Like I've been on so many shows, and whichever one, the first or the second, doesn't matter. Somebody gets excited. Somebody gets oh, and and there's. You guys are so even. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And you guys are about roughly the same height.
He's a little shorter.
Michael's short.
Yeah.
I like a team.
I got
can
the
look up
weight
to.
on him for sure, though. For sure.
No, it's a great team.
It is. Yeah, it is. I was sort of fortunate enough to get, again, that was Anne with an E that I got together with him on. And
Oh, wow.
By happenstance as well, that he sort of came out. I hadn't worked with him before that, so it sort of worked out very well. He's a real good guy to work with for sure.
Yeah.
And like I say, very calm, very even.
Yeah, it's shit can be going down. There's a lot of stuff going on. We're losing the light. Everybody's moving fast. This has got to be done. This has got to be done. And in some cases, I hesitate to walk up to my second or my first and say something or ask a question because I know they're just harried.
Yeah.
But you guys,
Yeah.
it's a different story. You guys are amazing. Plus, you make me laugh every day.
That's true. Not so far on this one, but
No, it's all good. I'm laughing.
laugh it inside.
Yeah,
Laugh
I just remember in our texts.
What could I say out of them? No, can't say that. Can't say that
Yeah,
either.
that's great.
Um,
Do you want to direct? Why aren't you directing?
where I want to go for sure is I want to showrun, which is the directing that I always want. I've directed a little bit of stuff. I've directed some stage stuff for sure, like with the comedy troupe, and then I realized where, like, I want to do that creative. I want to do that 10 episode arc. I've always like every idea that I've ever had is, well, it's like the stuff that we looked at with yours. It's this overarching stuff. It's more interesting where you can develop characters.
This is the Sasquatch thing.
This is
I mean, obviously that's not directing for you and all that, but I want to do that so bad. And the other guy that was going to play one of the hunters in it is my buddy Kim. I think he's episode 2
Kim
on here.
I haven't seen the scripts for that.
Oh, you haven't?
Oh, you've not seen the scripts
No,
for Sasquatch?
I've seen the Duncan B,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
which I came up with.
Yeah.
That I shopped to you guys.
Yeah.
Noted that for now.
Awesome.
So what
Yeah.
about you guys? And you guys, you guys are always doing shows. You've got this going on. Do you want to be podcasters?
We are podcasters.
Yeah,
Like,
really.
For real though?
Hey, come on.
And we're just having a
we're
ball.
getting
Man.
Are you going to monetize this? Do you do advertising in this?
We have no.
No, we're trying. We want to. Like, we want to.
course.
We got, I don't know. It just, we started this sort of more organically. My dad and I, we hang out all the
Orgasmically?
time. What's that? Orgasmically.
Orgasmically,
Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
We hang out all the time, and we sort of go, we have this incredible dynamic as father-son.
Yes.
And we talk theories and philosophies and film all the time. So we just thought, fuck it, let's do this.
Have you always been pals?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
when you were young?
Yes.
Yeah, since the get-go.
There's never been a not, pal.
Then, and now when you put your pal into danger,
Yes.
how is that?
Oh fuck! Bring that up.
Don't make him cry.
No, my wife was once asked in an interview whether it scared her. Was she nervous when the kids do stunts? And her answer was they had a good teacher, and she trusted me. So I would go back to that. My children have learned that what they do is sometimes incredibly dangerous, but they won't go beyond their scope. They know what they can do, and they do that. Does that make sense? Am I answering your question?
Yeah, no, it's funny because one of the things we do is we take all these courses and stuff like that. I just did a course with the DGC, and they were going over, people were talking about rest, and they were talking about what else has happened lately?
Deadpool.
Well, they were talking about rest, and they were what was the other one that they were talking about in the state? Midnight with William Hurt on the bridge. Sarah Jones.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
I don't remember this.
Sarah Jones.
They had the bed
Yeah.
on the train track, and the cameras
Oh my God, yeah, of
horrible.
course.
And so we were talking about that, and then they were talking about things that are going on in Canada, of accidents that had happened in Canada. Mm-hmm. And the list of it was basically most of them were stunt accidents.
Right.
So we were discussing, we were discussing about the liability and things like that. So certainly one of the things as an AD, you're partially responsible, and you're running the set. And even though I'd be relying on Randy to make sure it's safe, there's also part of me that is as the guy when I'm firsting that says, hey, we shouldn't be doing this.
100%.
That was the thing. But inherent within the accidents that happen in Canada is that people are risking their lives.
Sure.
Stuff anyway, right? That's your job.
Yeah.
Is to risk your life.
Generally.
So some of that's going to go wrong.
What's interesting about that is
Otherwise, there'd be no risk.
I would tell someone
Otherwise,
that
you should only get $100 adjustment.
That's
and I think we agreed with that.
Fuck you, man. Fuck you.
I would say that, and this is, did you know that most percentages, 98% of percentages are made up on the spot.
That's right.
So I'm going to say 90% of any given stunt is limb threatening, and 10% are life threatening.
Yeah.
So you can fuck up a career and do a career-ending gag by breaking your neck, breaking your back, breaking your legs. What was I going to say? You make me laugh.
A lot.
Go ahead.
You
Get
can
me out
interrupt
of
me,
this.
but a lot of
Not during the stunt.
I'll come back to it.
He said, "Go."
If you're doing like a lot of the doubling work that I do, a lot of the actors want to do their own action and this and that, but sometimes you step in just to keep like their ankle okay or their knee
Right.
okay. They got to continue showing this face for the next, for the rest of the season, and really, I'm just there to like cover any possible something.
So less life-threatening, more. Basically, you're expendable. But, and I don't mean in your life, but that's
you're right.
true.
Yeah, you're right.
Because if he breaks his leg, I can have another stunt guy.
Yeah,
do it
no,
now.
yeah. So
what
I'm just the one putting out my risk for that, I guess.
I think what I wanted to say was, yes, stunt performers put their life or limb on the line, but at the same time that we're doing that, we're also putting your life or limb on the line in many, many cases. You could have a camera crew pushing a dolly along some track and a car go awry and goodbye.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I've often been in meetings where I say that my department, there's other departments that have risk to other crew members, but my department has an ability to kill you. Whether that be a vehicle, the equipment, rigging.
And another thing that we risk, and I actually think about this sometimes, is if something does go kind of awry and someone like falls off something, hits their head, you see an entire crew cringe and turn their face and hurt by it. I've seen crew members cry, because they think something really intense has happened. I mean, there's a lot of this. It goes in a lot of ways. It's not just physical. I think, I don't know, because I get nervous if it's me. I trust myself. It's the same way you get behind the wheel of a car as opposed to being passenger. There's a difference, and if I see another stunt guy doing a high fall, sometimes you just kind of go, I hope this goes right. I don't know.
I've said this in other podcasts about the larger percentage of the safety of any given gag is hiring the right person to do it. But that said, further to what Andrew said, as a stunt coordinator, I've hired the right people. We've rehearsed. We've dealt with you. We've dealt with everything. And now is coming the moment that we're going to shoot this. And it's like handing your kid the keys to your car. You think you've taught them how to drive for the last year, but now they're going to go downtown and take their friends to the mall. And you sit at home worrying the entire time. So I have somebody up on that parapet. I have somebody coming through that window. I have no idea what the gag is.
You never know what's on their mind.
But
how
oh
their
my
day's
God.
Going.
Yeah.
The moment I let them have the keys, it's over for me. Because I just get to watch just like you.
So how is that as a dad then?
Oh, that goes back to that original question.
Because expendable wise, we get I get the idea of break a wrist or break an ankle or twist an ankle, because we've had that. Certainly, I've talked to actors and they're going, I'm going to do this, and you go like, what the fuck are you going to do that for? Like, you may actually twist your ankle.
Right.
And then, I can twist. It's like, yeah, why would you twist your ankle and then everybody's out of work?
Right.
Or we've changed everything just so that you can, that part, yeah. But then that 10% part, that risking your life thing it was, because, going back to that original, me saying that I knew karate and I could do this stunt thing. And then I think it was it Shelley that on Exit Wounds who drove her car off the parkade?
It was a bus. Was it a bus?
Was it a bus or a Range Rover?
Or something like that, yeah.
I think that's what she bought the license plate, the fell for it or whatever.
Right.
Wasn't that?
I don't remember.
I think she has a vanity plate and it says fell for it. I think I don't know, could be wrong with
Fell
what that's
for it.
for.
It's a good one.
But I always remember going like, oh, that's really fucking dangerous.
Yeah, man.
But that's not, that's...
But and that makes you nervous, maybe.
Well, I didn't.
You trust these people, but you kind of go, ooh.
For me, I made that decision. I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to risk my life for it. But you guys are risking your lives on the call it 1% of the time.
Yeah, we have.
But nobody hires me without knowing. Like, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. Like, again, I wouldn't take a job that. I guess, you risk, if I'm sliding a car close to the edge of something, I have no idea. Like, we really determine how easy this is going to be prior. There's a lot of rehearsal. There's a lot of things adding up to this, and we discuss it pretty quietly together.
And will Dad say, don't do anything? Don't do that. Have you? How about that? That's a pretty good question.
I probably wouldn't be on set if.
That's a really good question, Lorin. And I'm not the only guy that hires my kids.
Oh, no,
my kids get hired by everybody, and so they go out and do the gag. I don't think I've ever said, "Don't do that." I may have said, "Learn how. Let's work through this. Show me, tell me what you would do." You know what I mean? And then
he has called me sweetie on set.
I bet.
That has happened.
Darling. Sweetie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can do it. He can get away with it.
Yeah.
He said, "How do I call you?" He said, "I'm going to call you Randy on set if you would stop calling me honey."
Well, he says to me, he goes, literally, we're on set one day, and he goes, you can just call me Randy. You don't got to call me Dad. And I said, okay, as long as you stop calling me baby.
It just comes out.
Touche.
Anyway. But, yeah.
No, you don't have to. I was thinking of, what do I want to know from you guys as well?
Yeah, we're just here to talk, really.
Yeah, no, it's, certainly fatherhood's a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many kids you got?
I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
I have Robin, the eldest.
Yeah.
I call her Bob. Eden,
Okay.
my son. Well, Robin, Bobby.
Oh, I see.
And then I call her Bob.
That's cool.
And then I got Eden, my son, named after my late father. And then Georgia, my youngest daughter, who's at the time of this 12.
Good names.
Oh, that's wicked.
Yeah, good names.
So I got Bob, Eden, and George. And nobody knows. And Lauren.
And how old's
I love
Bobby?
that.
Bobby is 17.
Wow.
Okay, so she's getting close to getting into the world.
Yes. Yeah, and she's come on set a lot with me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, she's in Anne with an E. She's one of the kids in the school.
Oh,
and-
trip.
Aw.
Yeah, it was really great. It was really, and that's so and then it's funny because we're talking the way home with Heather and Alex, the showrunners who are mother and daughter. It's like that's like you guys are living it. Like if I could have me and one of my kids, like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck, are you
I gotta
kidding
tell
me?
you, there's nothing I like. I love working with my kids.
Yeah,
I love working with my dad. It's awesome.
Kristen's a stunt performer. Randy Lee's a stunt performer and an art director. And I just love being on set.
Kristen keeps distance though from you guys, right? Is my impression.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
I find her quite funny. Like, she's very
Kristen?
dry. Yeah,
She is.
She's like she
She's
seems
funny.
very dry,
Yeah, she is very dry, and she's got a great sense of humor.
unflappable,
Yeah.
almost
Oh, no, she's
almost
unflappable.
unflappable.
Yeah,
And
she's
like
good.
the best, I haven't met her much, but just the couple of times that the little like, you go like, oh, I think she just busted a gut.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, she really,
That is her stuff.
if that's what you guys want to do.
No, she's great. We get our laughs on for sure.
How many of you butchers?
Kids?
Yeah,
3. All boys except for the 2 girls.
right.
Yeah.
Girl or boy? Boy.
It's anyone's guess.
What do you think?
Okay, so
I keep people guessing.
that said, show running, eh?
Show running. That's where I want to go. I'm trying to write a novel, which
Well, you
I think
can't
is
show run a novel.
well. One of the things is certainly having a bit of work that's been done or published.
Nobody will let you adapt their book, so
It's really
you're going to adapt.
so. I've been saving these books. Like I read a book, and I've been saving books. I've known I wanted to do this long format since I was a kid, and they just didn't do it back then.
Mm-hmm.
I thought there's a few things I wanted to tell this story, and you can't. They weren't doing it, and now they're doing it.
Right.
So along
Yeah,
the way,
so
since about 10 years old, I've been collecting these books.
Unfortunately, nowadays, though, the stories are sold in galley form before they're ever published. The publisher will sell it to Hollywood prior to ever publishing the book, or at least optioning it.
Some yes. If it's new, not necessarily. But these books that I had sort of earmarked along the way, and literally since I was like 9 years old reading, I went like, oh, this would be a great book.
Wow.
This would be a great thing if only I could tell it, and I'd write them down. So Damien, who we knew from October Faction, and he sort of took me under his wing a little bit, and he said, "Listen, I'll find if any of these books. Tell me some good ones, and let me see if we can find out. If there's anything to go on, because they want previously done works. Everything that I basically went like, these are my top 5. These are old books from a long time ago, and all the rights were gone from them.
Yeah.
From like 1976, still they don't have it.
Wow.
It's crazy. So, if you can do a novel, to me, that's one of the ultimate forms of writing. If you can take a full novel and make that story. So I thought, so I was sort of pushing, like trying to get my own work done, and then I would make that, and then I'd have a piece of work that I've adapted from it.
Are you more interested in like series, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons, or are you looking at a limited series?
3 seasons,
Okay.
10 hours, that arc the whole thing.
Why 3? Why are you stopping us?
I think well, Netflix has decided that 3 was its thing.
Okay.
Really?
Weird, yeah. I don't know if I want to tell you that. I wrote all there's all these platforms have their bits. I guess likely to do with the creative people who are making the decisions of what they want, and they all do things sort of different ways. None of them will share their data, right? Netflix won't. They have the most data out of everybody. They know when you stop, start, when you lose interest, when you don't, when you gain interest, everything, presumably. And they stop at 3.
That's fascinating because it used to be when there was like network shows, there
Syndication,
syndication. There would be 5 seasons, and that was the magic number. You'd make your cash.
That's right.
Okay.
Which is why 24 was, I mean, another arcing one. 24 for an hour, a season was 24, so it was a perfect. I'd love to know how that all came.
That's insane, though. That is a lot of work. Holy fuck.
Crazy.
Yeah, remember doing those series? You got 22 or 23 episodes in the series.
Yeah, but especially with an arc like that.
Yeah, like that. I mean, 24 put on again. Canadians too. It's like John Cassar, right?
John Cassar.
Did you do 24?
I didn't. No. But I know John.
Was that not? That was out west, though, right?
I think it was L.A., wasn't it?
24?
I don't know.
I think it was L.A., but lots of Canadians.
Good question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Sutherland, right up front.
Right.
That was a cool show.
It was a great show.
Yeah.
To tell whole stories. Are you guys readers? Like, do you read books or
We can
comic
read.
books or
Yeah.
more articles?
Yeah,
Facebook page.
I read a ton of
Got it,
memes
got
every
it.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both readers.
Are you, in novels? Like, what's your
No,
favorite?
not necessarily. I read information. I don't read. I wish I read more stories. To be honest, I read scripts. I'll like if I like us. I'm actually trying to. I would like The Last of Us just came out.
Oh yeah.
Amazing video game. And of course, it comes out, it's a zombie thing, and everyone says, this is good, this is good, this is good. Everything I see, I always go, it's not that good.
Mm-hmm.
But I did watch that. I watched the first episode, which is out right now. It's the only episode, and it was really good.
Yeah,
I want to read the script.
You texted me about
I just want to read the script really bad. I don't know if I can get my hands on it, but at the moment,
I think
that's what I'd prefer to read.
Because Andrew's a writer, you want to read the
I
script.
just want to learn.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I read about things I learn. I rarely read a novel. I just bought a novel today, actually.
And he's probably not. He's going to put it on the shelf and look. It'll look good sitting there.
I'm going to read it because a friend owns the rights, and is pursuing writing a limited series.
Is that where you guys want to be? You guys, I mean, you want to do series.
Yes, 100%.
I want to write it. Yeah, I mean, I've already written
a
series. I just got to get her going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is the one that you do?
Don't ask me to tell my ideas if you're not going to share. Just cover,
You signed a paper.
just
that you
cover our mouths.
Yeah, we'll talk about this after, though. He's got some incredible stuff.
Yeah. Well, the stuff that I read was very, very good.
Thanks.
I have theories on it, but I'm not going to say it here after I sign that fucking paper.
Well, we should
my hands are
absolutely
tied.
chat behind, off camera. We should be chatting more. But yeah,
I was wondering whether there'd be something to sign that way because nobody talked to my agent about this.
No.
There's liability.
They don't
we
know.
don't talk to agents. Fuck that.
No way.
What episode number am I?
21.
Oh, 21.
Yeah.
That's
21's
like
good.
That's like an album.
We've just
Yeah,
come
yeah.
of age.
I was trying to go for 25. I thought for the 25th episode.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
21's a great.
And then 20. Yeah, no, 21's good. 21's of age, and this is the last one, is it? Like
It may be.
This is it. Never know.
you've hit the bottom of the barrel at this point. There's no more.
It's hilarious. My whole family watches
We
this,
could do
damn it.
Lorin. He's
I
available.
guess that's it.
He's in Alora.
That's hilarious. So what do you got? What are you doing now? What are you going on to?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I generally don't think of the next thing until I've done the last thing.
Right.
Are you not done the last thing?
So we've just finished the last one, but I still haven't sort of. So I was getting calls during the last one. You want to go this, want to do that, but I don't really want. Like I'm trying to make myself a job. And this back to this whole second ADing thing.
Yeah.
Like it's going to sound pretentious, I guess, but I'm trying to make it something that it probably doesn't need to be, which is knowing every single bit of it. And when I'm in on a job, like I'm just doing that. Like I'm living it, I'm breathing it, like I'm loving it.
Well, the
Yeah.
more information you have, just the better.
It's
you
more
are.
interesting.
And
It's
the,
more
the hours you put in.
yeah.
Do your kids get to see you?
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean they do. That's why it's good to bring like Robin or the likes out for sure. And then when I'm off, I'm generally with not right now the second, but like I take them to school as much as I can. Like we do volleyball, we do all those things I got to catch up on as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm working double what most people work.
People have no idea.
No,
The civilian life, I ask people all the time, what do you do with your hours in the evening? You get off of work at 5.
it's crazy, right?
Yeah, it kills me when you know you wrap me and I'm thinking, fuck, I'm back at work in just a few hours in the morning. You're still going, and then I get a schedule from you,
2 hours after we get home.
and then a change, and then you know, like what the fuck?
And for me, the only way to do it is you eat, live, and breathe it.
Yeah.
So I do see the kids for sure, but I mean, there's many a soccer game.
Well, you
where
got
I've been
their
on my headphones
pictures
on
in your
talking on
wallet.
the
I
phone.
know.
Yeah, just again, the screen. It's an interest, but so I have to wait till the next good thing comes along. And often it's with Michael, who we talked about,
right.
Amazing.
and I'm repeating on like great producers and stuff like that. You know, like John Calvert, who we all
Absolutely.
know as well. Like those
Yeah.
people who understand and who you get a relationship with as well.
Yeah.
Who like what I'm doing.
That is this business, though, in every way.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
it's a relationship
all the way across
business.
the industry.
John's incredibly generous. And to me, I mean, he always calls me awesome.
Yeah.
His loyalty is.
Yeah. And it's reciprocated. Like I think it's certainly all about relationships, isn't it?
It is. It really
Which is
yeah.
more. It's more because you're not going to work every single day. You know, at the same company, you got to hang with. You're creating these relationships that happen outside of work, even with you guys.
Of course, right.
Yeah.
And still think of like that's, and I'd make it a point to try to keep these connections even with us. I think it's easy with you guys. Every once in a while, you throw something or there's ideas going as well.
Absolutely.
But you don't have
Yeah.
this structure of like, here we are back at the office.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I look forward to going to work every day.
Oh yeah.
Like every day. People
don't wanna
say,
go
"Oh,
to
you
bed.
have to go to work." No, I get to go to work.
But can you not work?
I like not working.
Like I can not work.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm as good at not working as I am when I am working.
But speaking of not working, when I'm not working, I'm working on something.
Yes.
Like this is kind of my mind frame.
Yep.
I imagine as an AD, if you want to create something, like what you gotta all day you're thinking about what you're on, but you want to kind of be doing some of your own things.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, you got this pad. Do you use that at work? If you're on set, are you writing things down because you got an
Yes.
idea? You're watching something
Yeah.
and you went, you know what? Fuck, that'd be
Yeah,
great."
I have I split it. It's one way is your own ideas, and then you switch around as the work idea, the work stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I share the pad.
Okay, so
then I
you're
write
specific to
interesting.
that brand of pad, even.
This size is pretty perfect, and then I'm trying to integrate over into the electronics, but it's a lot
Can't do
harder.
it.
I hate it. I actually consider everyone thinks that your phone is like everything is right there. To me, it's more like a messy room. It's like everything's in here, but I don't want to look at it.
I use an iPad, and I have every modern app you need as a writer, a director, a shooter, everything. And I use yellow legal pads.
Yeah, yeah.
That
It's so much easier.
I'm trying to go over to the note stuff.
Yeah, but then you end up on Facebook, and then you end up over on Instagram, and you forget why you went there.
Do you
and
use
didn't write your note.
scriptation at all?
No,
Shout out to scriptation. If
they want to give me scriptation. It's expensive, isn't it?
I don't know. I have it. I absolutely adore it.
Scriptation? What is it?
It's an app where you can bring in your scripts, like from work. I put them all in, and then you can make notations.
Oh, yeah.
And you can actually, when you get the new script,
Yeah, yeah.
you can put that in, and all your notations remain.
Oh man! Wow.
Yeah,
It is really, really interesting.
yeah,
When you run out of batteries, that's when you get fucked a little bit.
big time.
Yeah, yeah. This. Well,
Yeah.
it runs out of ink, but
runs out of
you
ink,
can,
but
it's cheap.
Because I was trying to get someone to pitch me on that. Well, Norma Bailey, our director, and she's like, I love this scriptation. And we were literally driving along around the sites, and she's like, not a batteries. But this is an impressive app.
Crazy. How is she? Do you know?
Oh, I haven't. I think she's in good shape.
Good.
Yeah, she would be interesting to have on here.
Yeah, I'd love to have her on.
Who is this? Sorry.
Norma
Norma Bailey, the director.
The director when you crashed the. We don't want to talk about
Was it
what's
a crash?
happening in the future.
Oh, is that right?
What was it?
It was a bump. It was a crash. It was a partial bump crash.
Have you seen the final? Did you see the final edit?
No. Have you?
No, I need to see this.
It was so the idea is how one of the characters crashes.
Right.
But and I watched all the different angles, and some of them are better and some of them are worse. And it was an interesting thing because your life is life is at risk. You were going at a good speed too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, sure.
Like you wouldn't want to crash your car at that speed.
No, you wouldn't.
And you did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's.
That was a funny moment, though. That time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't talk about it here.
Yeah.
There's some things I want to say, but we'll leave it.
It was a fart, really.
Well, we don't want to give it away, but yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
The crash is it is what it is. You do the gag. It's not the gag. It's how it's shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had this discussion with some of the powers that be, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, it'll look great. Of course, it'll look great. They got a whole bunch of different stuff on it. It's interesting to see what the actual danger looks like, though. Mm-hmm. Like you were in peril there for sure. Probably not the most dangerous thing you've ever done.
No, not necessarily.
No.
Yeah. I love this. This is great.
Don't even.
Just cross that off. We shouldn't talk about that.
That's awesome. I mean, stunts are an illusion, right? Like between what we do, what camera does, lighting, sound effects, special effects.
Yeah.
It's an illusion. Mm-hmm. So sometimes when you're on set and you see the gag, people go, "Really?
Yeah.
That's it?"
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, but you wait till you see the show.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be on that too.
Yeah.
But
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll just be a cloud of smoke.
Man, that was hilarious. I actually couldn't see anything. That was nuts.
He almost
he
was going to abort.
Yeah, I almost bailed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I couldn't see anything coming up that hill at all. And all of a sudden, the lamp above me, or above the
Thing appeared.
Appeared, and I went, "Oh, this is it."
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It was weird.
I mean, you did actually nail it.
Oh yeah, you did.
For
Thank
sure.
you. I'm glad. Thanks.
See. Shout out to real life, I guess.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
no, it was cool.
When does this show come back?
I guess I'll have to see what the numbers are like. I'm sure it would come back though.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah,
It's
good.
It's
good.
like they've taken a Hallmark thing, which is, and everybody loves Hallmark for sure. I guess shout out to Hallmark. Mm-hmm. But they've created this romance and science fiction and all that stuff. It's really neat.
Very cool.
Do I get to say that? Well, I'm going to say it anyway. That I'm the first official character to die on screen in a Hallmark movie. Is that
Let's say this:
okay?
you stunt doubled the
Right.
first character.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot more sense.
If I was you, I wouldn't put it. That'd be a big spoiler though. When would this?
Oh yeah. that
When would
be
you
a big
put? When would you
spoiler.
put this? Yeah, I would.
Demark this one?
I would
This will be 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now. 21. Is there a fanfare or nothing?
I don't know.
What else do you? What about What else do you guys talk about?
I don't know.
On these?
Yeah.
Oh, we rely on you to come up with stuff.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. Do you want anything to drink?
We often talk about that.
We don't tend to do that. I don't drink alcohol at all.
No.
which is good. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, why not? Of
Told
course.
you we shouldn't have had him here.
Yeah, fuck.
Maybe I'll go take a whiz quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Okay, we're back. Lorin and I had to pause for the cause. So, Lorin, you were just saying something about writing in the shower?
Oh, we're talking about notepads. So one of my best Christmas gifts this year, very simple, is a shower notepad, of which I have a lot of great thoughts in the shower. And it's a pencil, and it's waterproof paper, and you can write as you normally would in the shower.
Now, do you discard that piece of paper?
No, it's just like a normal.
I actually have
pad.
one. I have one of these, and I've never used it.
It's great. It's
And
great
I
'cause-
should, because all my good ideas are in the shower too.
right.
It's weird.
There's something about showers that makes people
What are
come
you
up
guys
with good
doing in the
ideas.
shower? You got these
We should.
ideas?
We should
that all
collaborate and shower together.
Oh my God! Can you see this writer's room?
Well, it's all Zoom. It's
That'd
all
be incredible.
remote.
It's hilarious.
But it was pretty interesting. But now I leave. So I leave some of the ideas that I have in there.
Oh God!
Oh wow.
The ideas aren't all that funny, but everybody's a fucking critic in the house, of course. And I was extolling the virtues of this great pad that's waterproof, and my son's like, "Well, the ideas are not that good." I left them in there because I don't know what you were writing in there.
Don't work with him.
It doesn't.
That's pretty funny.
Work with my other son. Everybody's a critic in the end, though.
Oh yeah.
Some of them were good ideas. They seem really good ideas to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're in your head. You sketch them down. Nobody understands.
All mine are great.
Yeah, all of them.
Oh yeah, perfect.
I never thought about writing in the shower though. That's funny.
Well, there's something about sensory overload that you have with a shower. Is my theory. You're getting because if you jumped out of a plane before.
No, that's just silly.
No, I'm coming. I'm gonna do it.
Have you done that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I've done that.
want to really bad.
And it's for me that first time it was sensory overload. So you become very present within the moment.
Okay.
So you go out to your body. For me, my body just went like, what the fuck? There's nothing. There's no floor. There's no ceiling. There's no walls. You're there.
Right.
You don't feel anything, and you've got so much going on with your body and your body just goes like, let's just shut this down for a little bit. So I became a set of eyes.
Interesting.
So the shower is a little bit like that as well. Less of you should see my shower. No, but there's this sensory overload because a lot of people have good ideas in the shower, right?
Yeah.
They think
where's
they do.
the sensory overload? Like, what do
Like
you
if
mean?
you have a good hot shower, suddenly the so much sense hitting all your body.
Okay.
You suddenly some of your senses, you just become overwhelmed, and then you become a point in time. Which is meditation, which is all that stuff, right? Or what is getting into the zone or getting it.
Doing
Yeah,
karate, getting thrown over the chairs.
Okay,
Sometimes I think it's because
Like it was
at that time I'm with myself and that's it. I'm just standing there. I can't have my phone. I can't have anything else.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm just in my head while I'm showering
yeah.
or something like that. You know, that's where all my good ideas come from because I'm not sitting on my phone.
And then do you forget about them?
Do you smoke anything before you get in?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes I do forget, but not generally. Anything that's really good, like suddenly like quickens the shower. I gotta wash, get the fuck out so I can
right.
write this down. Yeah. I need a pad in my shower.
You have it. It works.
What's
Really
that?
cool.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was surprised how well it works.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, for a
It is
guy with
fascinating.
lots of notepads. And then on this, I was trying to do I'm trying to get into dictating.
Yeah, I've tried to do the dictating thing. Doesn't work all that well.
Were we talking about the same dictating? But no.
Well, my
Yeah,
wife did say
dictators.
this isn't a good idea.
That's a skill though, because we all grew up with Star Trek thinking that this is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
you're going to go
Captain's
log,
Right.
Which is, it's really hard to do, captain's log.
Yeah.
So if you can get it now with the voice recognition, I'm trying to get into the idea of being able to just throw it out and let Siri translate it all into text.
Yeah, see, that wouldn't be bad, the text thing, like translating it, but I've tried the dictating thing too. And,
How come you don't say the same thing back to him?
well, he's used the joke already.
That wasn't that good of a joke, really. I tried it, I floated it, and it tanked.
But if
I try a lot of material on Randy. To be fair,
And it's good stuff.
Some of it's brilliant,
Yeah.
and most of it's not.
Yeah, we should publish my
your
text.
best work is in the shower and on set with Randy.
Yeah, it's the texting.
Yeah.
It's really just trying to fuck up Randy as much as you possibly can in the middle of serious times.
Yeah, there's nothing like messing with the mind of the stunt coordinator. Yeah, making sure all the safety's gone out the window.
Yeah, safety first for sure.
Okay, let's be serious here.
No, but when you dictate, you talk like this, and you kind of you know whatever. And I listen back, and it takes 5 minutes for me to get to the point. For fuck's sakes, you know what I mean? You listen to your note, and unless your note is 10 seconds long,
You got to put it to text,
God, yeah, it's got to be in text.
and that works. So it's finally at the point where you can do that.
It is, yeah, it is. And now you can just get artificial intelligence to write your book. You don't even have to.
Exactly.
You don't have to do anything.
But can you go back a space? Can you say strike that?
Yeah, you can. Well, you can sort of work with it. You pop back into your note and start it again, or delete parts of it.
Yeah, see that would become a hassle for me.
It becomes hybrid. It's working though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I need to. If I could replace this, that would be a good thing.
You want to replace the notepad?
It's just because I've got so many of them now, and I lose track of.
What's where?
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So I started doing lists and started doing like brilliant ideas and stuff like that, and the list is really, really long. They're not all brilliant, but yeah, it's interesting.
So how's the novel coming?
It's hard to do. Like I can see why it's hard to write. I can write scripts. I find that easier. I think it's because you need to talk more. Like a good novel goes on and on and on for me, and you don't want to do the rain fell pitter patter pitter patter pitter patter pitter patter
Totally.
pitter patter, which is sort of your inclination to do, but so I'm trying to find how to do that.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't find myself. I'm not a novelist. I find it relatively easy to write screenplays, to write script form. I'm a very visual guy, so I write visually and auditorially. But to write a novel, my wife just wrote a novel, and I was reading it again this morning, and she's got to send it to the publisher very shortly.
Oh, really? Is she published?
Yeah, she has a publisher that is publishing the book. Absolutely.
But has she been
No,
published?
not before. No.
Right. And it seems obvious, but that's your mom.
That
is my mom.
Yeah. And it's great. Like it's really good.
Fiction?
Fiction. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really nice
It's a beautiful
nice
story.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's done a really good job.
I hate to say this, Randy, but bring your mic in closer.
Like this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, she's done a really good job.
We got one.
But I don't.
I thought it was going to be me. But
I don't think I have it in me to write a novel.
no, I think it's hard, man.
It
I
is
think we
hard.
get used, but probably I think you have to read novels in order to write them, which is not a cutting remark. I mean, if you write a script or you
No, it makes sense.
like
I've
if you
read
read scripts
hundreds
all the
of
time, you
scripts.
go like, oh well, I actually get it because you're getting beginning, middle, and the end, which
Yeah, it's
again
an
goes back
extremely
to this whole
different
10 hours worth of stuff,
Right.
which is this. It's sort of a novel. It's not just one contained script, which is 44 minutes. There's not tons happens in 44 minutes.
Right.
A lot can happen in 10 hours.
Yeah.
If you do audiobooks, it takes about 10 hours for a good audiobook. That's how long they tend to be.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's a lot of.
Have you ever thought of reading audiobooks with that voice?
I have, yeah. I'm trying to get Yeah.
That's a great
It
idea.
puts you to sleep, though, for sure. Right?
Rhonda,
The whole
Yeah,
thing.
I'm
This is
knocking
actually,
out.
if you tune into this,
I'm
you
knocking
can
out.
just let me go.
Yeah.
Just keep talking and talking. Sometimes I put myself to sleep, so it's
Yeah,
all
you
right.
do have like a meditative vibe for sure.
There's no inflection. I think I could be super excited right now, and this is me super excited as well,
lay back,
right?
relax.
Which is probably good to your point of not freaking out.
It could very well
Maybe.
be.
'Cause
You
maybe
might
I am
be as
freaking
excited as hell, and I don't know.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Eh?
Yeah.
A lot of the most scattered ADs, the ones that get too scattered about what's going on, I don't see them again. I often, that's how I feel. I'm like, yeah, I've never seen that guy again.
Interesting.
You know, I don't know. Don't you feel that way? I feel like it's such a pleasure to be around you and Michael. Like he's like literally the most calm
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Like his jokes are this fast,
Yeah.
right? And man, I just Anyway, I can't imagine how much comes onto you guys, onto your shoulders throughout the day, and the way you manage it is.
Yeah.
The pressures.
Real.
The pressures have to be intense.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting thing, and I collect stats of what I actually write down stats, and then I also just collect stats of like how long it takes for things. How long it takes to get onto a process trailer, how long it takes to get things, and Michael's very good at it as well of trying to. And one of the things that if you yell at somebody to make them go faster, the amount of energy you put into yelling is actually it's disproportionate to the amount of that someone goes faster. Mm-hmm. So you can do a one quick yell like "Hey, get up," and it's like "Whoo," and it runs up. But if you keep yelling at people, it actually slows them down because you're again this whole sensory overload.
I say that to actors all the time. Yeah. Actors get nervous when people are yelling and moving fast.
Yeah,
and I tell them straight up, hey, between you and me, the faster they move, the slower you and I go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But now I heard you say that quote before. Is that purpose? Do you mean that's purposely that you go like?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because I find that non-purposely people do it. Like if you yell at the kids,
right?
For a moment you get that lunge, but they're not doing it purposely. I think it's too much.
Part of my job, I think part of my job as a stunt coordinator is to gain the trust and confidence of an actor and to build their confidence that they can do this. And when people are running around acting crazy, we just slow down. You and me just stay right here. Let's stay here together.
Yeah, because it kind of
all of this doesn't exist.
They start to race.
That's right.
Yeah.
I cannot afford this person to become nervous about what they're about to do.
Yeah.
So I slow them down on purpose.
Yeah.
Now, writing stats and all that you're doing, are you this organized in normal life?
Like at home, would Beverly tell us this?
No, but I'm better. I'm better. That's a good. Yeah, no, I don't think. I don't know.
We already got the rambling note.
I get the rambling for sure. I ramble at work too, I think.
Well, I got to tell you, you put out the best call sheets ever.
Oh, very good.
People don't.
Yeah, great emails and everything. Yeah.
Well, I try to do that. The email thing is trying to, although other people do that as well, but of email and of actually getting information across is an interesting thing to do. Whether you're doing it in the story or whether you're doing it,
I totally agree.
People not be. It's partly because of this endless scroll, but you really only have a couple of lines, unless you can make it a way that someone will read more lines.
People learn when they're having fun.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Your emails and your call sheets are fun to read.
Yeah.
So I look forward to it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And if you're nervous about your job, it's nice to have someone like you on set.
Oh, that's what. If I can just translate that into something more than a second AD, it would be.
We're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there.
But speaking of that,
then I'd have me on this podcast.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Yo, episode.
I figure everybody's gone now, so we can talk.
Episode 121 is going to be fantastic.
What's interesting about a podcast is this: there's going to be a number of people in the film industry who are going to see this. People who know Lorin, people who know us, and they will understand the short what is it called?
The shorthand?
The shorthand that we're speaking.
Yeah.
And people at home are going, who is this guy and why are they talking to him?
Yeah, maybe.
Because they don't understand. Like a call sheet. What's a call sheet?
Right.
Tell us what a call sheet is.
A call sheet is, so if you've stayed around this long, I'm assuming there's a whole new audience that's happened now
Maybe.
that mistakenly landed on
Whole new or a lot less.
a lot less.
Yeah.
And the people, can you imagine
Okay, so for the 7 people that are going to see
who
this,
stuck around?
Yeah, they clicked
No,
off at
but
the
no,
P
seriously,
break.
who stuck around? If we could have that in the
We need
comments of
names.
who, is there, do you put comments on these things?
You can. Yeah.
people
Like,
can
do
say
people,
whatever they want.
has anybody said anything?
There's been comments, but yeah.
Do you see how many people
All
view
good
it
up
then?
until now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We see there's a lot of that stuff actually.
You get extra stats and stuff like that?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we
see
can-
who
we can see
every
all that
country, anybody that's looking at from anywhere. We have listeners from all over the world.
Or,
YouTube is one format, but then there's like
Spotify,
like
Apple.
an obscene amount of podcasts.
Are you on Spotify as well?
We're on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and a whole whack of other things I've never even heard of that just come up on like our little app that we distribute on.
Oh, really?
It's pretty wild, which is Podbean.
Yeah.
Thank you, Podbean.
Shout out to Podbean. They're awesome.
Okay.
We don't know where they are. But
I had to look for
There's
your
not even there's no cameras in here. No. Sorry, you were gonna say how's a call sheet or what's a call sheet?
if a call sheet is your next day's plan and then the day's plan. So we talked a long time ago. We talked about the director. She tells the first AD what she's thinking of, and then the first AD sort of makes up this plan. Second AD helps a little bit of that, and then the second AD sort of organizes that plan the day before by putting out, a plan, a call sheet that has everybody's times and numbers, and just sort of a data sheet of what we need, what we're shooting, who's there, who's part of it, that phone numbers and everything that you might want to.
Yeah, I don't even look at it.
No, and that's
I actually print it out, ball it up, and throw it away.
the majority of people don't. I put out a call sheet before. Like, so what I do is the day before I send it out. Now we send it out to everybody.
right.
And you're trying to get people to look at it and say, like, is this right? This is what I think, but I'm keeping the information of what the other 150 people are doing on it. And I put out a thing saying, like, hey, everybody, is this right? And some people look at it and some people don't. So the key thing is that when I'm putting out an email is I'm writing saying, like, hey, here's some highlights. Like, is this stuff right? Because
That makes sense.
the end, if there's something different or if something's changed the plan, like we had the high fall plan for tomorrow, but it's in the afternoon. Hey, I'll put that out in an email that people will read, and then there's all kinds of people, safety people and production people, and do we have the medic and the...
And then you have the stunt guy at home looking at that draft going, okay, so my high falls after lunch. Why do you have me come in at 7?
Like, it's 8 hours. It's one fee. I thought
and
you
I
wanted
was-
to be there.
Yeah. I just want to hang out.
Just want to fucking hang with you guys.
Now, do your A-listers and do they all look at the same call sheet? I mean, I realize they're all there, but are you calling these people separately? Is it different? What's it like working with as an AD, working with some of these big names?
Well, again, that's one of the elements that you're as an AD that you're dealing with. You're doing that again, and that was what was really interesting for me, was to learn the whole idea, the whole thing of filmmaking. And the great thing about ADs is that we have to know everybody's jobs. And one of the things that we've got to know, as you're saying, is the actors. Big part of it, of course. And actors, in my opinion, the most important part of everything that we do. So I have to try and have a relationship with them, because their preparedness is.
And I imagine
paramount.
that's not always easy. That's several personalities you got to work with.
Like I was trying to think of, I have like not a lot of good stories or interesting stories about actors. Like, people generally want to know, like, well, what crazy things went down. And I actually don't have a lot of good stories about like, people I've found are very civil, and people just want to know information, and they want to know when they're getting there. So I like to think that I give people enough information so that I don't really have a lot of bad, interesting stories. So like people are mostly, you get more interesting stories if you fuck people up by not telling them what we're doing.
Right.
Or not being consistent or not being available. Like if you want to screw someone up, your best bet is to give them conflicting information or be erratic in your information or be to go certainly if you're to be as a dad or as a mom, the more even keeled that you're gonna.
Why'd you gesture to me about when you said mom?
Well, wasn't sure whether you're mom.
How did you know I was a mom?
How to pick up chicks.
I didn't mention it.
I think that so to the point of like being even keeled or being, going with people deal way better when they know. Like if you want to be an asshole, if you're always an asshole, is way better and easier to deal with someone who
Goes back and forth.
is sometimes an asshole and sometimes a nice person is way harder to deal with than
And someone who's consistently just one type.
It's so certainly for me, I don't even have I don't have a lot of good stories about. I seem to miss it. It's like Snuffleupagus. like people come and go like, oh, you missed a good one. They freaked out, and you're like, I wasn't there for it.
Yeah, but I mean, like just
Like nobody freaks.
in general, I mean, you got to send these people to set. You gotta deal with them all day.
Yeah.
And I do imagine that there's every once in a while you get someone who screams at everyone who walks into a hair trailer when they're in there, or
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's all like dealing with people, consistency, and giving people as much good information as possible, and being human tends to be the way that things work the best.
I imagine a guy like you is just good at dealing with this kind of shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'd like to think I am.
You definitely are.
I'd probably it's boring. Like I'm
You're pretty boring.
in the end.
Yeah.
That voice is putting me to sleep.
Right.
But we have to navigate so many different personalities in a day.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeah, like I've been listening. I listened to the podcast as well because your guys, and I don't know. Like I don't know. I think
So you're the one.
I'm the one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know as well the stat wise that I've tuned out by then because who's got a 2-hour car drive anymore?
I know.
That's true.
I know.
It's the sweet spot of that. Yeah,
There's always coming back to it. But go ahead.
yeah, I don't know. I lost my train of thought.
You listen to the podcast?
I do listen. I listen to the podcast. I listen to. I don't know what I've completely lost. Do you wear that shirt every single podcast?
I've only worn one other shirt on the podcast. I think it was with the cop.
Yeah, well, he had to wash that one. So
Do you have a number of those shirts?
I do.
Do you?
I have several.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you have men's ones or just the,
Just this one.
which is a good stand?
It's kind of like a commercial.
What others? I'm trying to think of what other good stories that I could have. I was told. I talked to my wife and she said you should have some good things to talk about and interesting things to talk about.
yeah, we talked and we thought we should have good questions. But
Did you guys have any questions?
No.
Just the call sheet one, eh?
That's it.
Yeah.
And the call time.
I know.
Hey, man, we just wanted you to be
Yeah,
here.
honestly,
We could
were just
give
like
two shits if somebody sees this.
No, it's
We
good.
want-
yeah,
to
but
spend
even
time
like
with
it's great talking about film and all this stuff, but we just honestly wanted to have you on.
Oh, yeah,
just
no.
to talk to you, man.
I
It's-
just
it's great.
I was saying you guys are just this father-son thing to me. Like that's one of the more interesting things that I find about you guys.
It's way better than mother-daughter, so
Mother and daughter.
that's why we did
father.
this.
We've each had one of the others.
I'll actually.
He's making a note for the shower.
Making a note,
No,
yeah.
I'll make a note for what I. It is actually a funny story, but I wouldn't tell it here.
Hey, listen, anybody watching this show has absolutely no idea what we think of you and how we feel. And that this is, I just wanted to have you here. Andrew wanted to have you here. That's all it is we
yeah.
wanted to spend time with you and just do this and have it.
Yeah. Oh no, that's it's, and I'm glad I've been able to come down Anything controversial though you guys want to talk about before?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I don't know. Bring it up. Let's go.
What about the whole anti-vaxxer thing?
Oh, good God.
That's where I was going, and I said, "Do you lead with the anti? Like, do you?" Yeah, I was thinking about that.
I think what
Really?
for me, I can't speak for Andrew, but what it comes down for me is I believe in a person's personal choice, and if they feel that getting vaccinated is something good for them, then they should do it. But if someone on the other side of the coin thinks that being vaccinated is not good for them, they should have that choice. Because at what point do we begin to allow our government to dictate what you do to your personal body? At one point, are they going to tattoo us? Do they cut something off? Are they going to add something? Does it make sense? I
don't know. I mean, this isn't a funny subject matter, but
not at all.
What
do you think?
So, would you? Where would you fall on the line? So a full choice. It's an interesting. And do you fall in the? Are you in the same?
Yeah, I just
spot?
think. Yeah, do what you want. I don't. At this point, I'm sitting here going, why did anyone get vaxxed at all?
There's so much
That's how I
information
feel.
coming out right now, proving that the people who were called conspiracy theorists were probably right in a lot of ways. There are things happening. Have you noticed how many people are just dropping dead?
Well, yeah. Well, we have no proof of anything.
No, we don't.
know.
No, we don't. But it's quite odd that in the last 2 months of my life, somewhere between 5 and 8 of people I know in the film business.
It is a little strange, but
Soccer players. Have you seen the video of the athletes just falling over on the field? They have somebody put a compilation together.
Oh no!
It's incredible.
What do you think?
I sort of look and see like how you met, like it was from an AD perspective
Oh, copy that. We're staying with the movies.
of how you man. I think how you manage people and situations. That was where that was where I was sort of looking, like where my shower thoughts were that came out of it were, I think everybody wants to be treated as an individual. We think that the individual rules, right? That,
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
but I think in the end, you can't on these problems. You have to treat them as non-individual problems, even though that's not as palatable. So you want to
Maybe
you want to like I think you do want to bulk. You want to you want to do these sort of these single solutions that won't work for absolutely everybody, and then
I feel like a lot of people just felt distrust.
Yeah, I think
that stuff was certainly all that. Certainly, everything was very screwed up.
Well,
and things were inconsistent.
We're getting conflicting news.
Yeah.
So, look at the source. I understand what you're saying about something collectively might be better for all of us.
Well, I think it had for myself was that if you were running the show, you have to do a one size fits all solution because you're unable. I was trying to think of like how else would you do that? Like when I got it, I was looking at all the monoclonal antibodies and stuff like that, which I could have gotten. I had it quite badly.
And see, that's and I see. Like I don't think I actually think you're right.
Yeah.
But like if the person that's giving you these this plan, whatever it is, and you don't like it or you don't trust them based on other things, I mean, what do? You kind of at that point you just like fuck that.
Yeah, whether or not the plan was the right plan, whether the one size fits, that may well not be the case.
And what happens if there's a vaccine that comes out that has different ingredients in it? Let's say there's 5 different ones or 10 different ones. If if it's all the same vaccine to everyone, that's one thing. But what happens if people are getting different ones? Is it a test?
like different.
This is assuming
different recipes.
that's what's happening. I mean, yeah, I think that especially if, let's say you have an illness or something, and you are more than aware already that you shouldn't be taking this vaccine, that maybe you've talked to your doctor prior and they believe that you shouldn't take this vaccine, and yet they can't get an exemption, that they, just because of that, they're still not exempt to this vaccine.
And you can't work.
And they can't work and do anything. Like, there's a lot of things that just really feel extremely unfair.
But that was only for a moment, though, right?
No, it still goes.
I don't know.
Like where you can't.
Like, there's shows still asking for it and all that stuff. And if you don't have it, then you don't work.
Right.
And there's, I have a friend who just flew to a country in South America who had to change her flight. She had a crossover. What do you call that? A layover flight in America, but America's not allowing unvaxxed over, and this person's unvaxxed, so they were unable to have that flight. Right, 24 hours before they flew. This is now what they get.
Yeah,
and now,
yeah.
fuck. So they actually they gave her credit or something, and then
For the ticket that she purchased, and they had to purchase another
Yeah,
ticket.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the solution works for everybody.
Well, then that,
But
yeah, that's
but
the
doing but doing customizable solutions for everybody.
If only. That's
Would-
the thing.
that's-
like, that just doesn't seem like what's happening. I have too many friends that have complained about not being able to be exempt from something or having an unfair situation based on this. And I don't know. You just kind of go, yeah, I don't get it. I feel everyone feels like there's, well, not everyone, but a lot of people feel like there's a bigger plan, a bigger idea. I don't know.
I think we hope that there's a bigger plan and a bigger idea. That would give me more. That would give me more faith if there was a bigger plan and bigger
It would be
idea.
nice to have a bit
I don't-
transparency to understand what's actually going on here.
I think it's like film, in that many films are poorly managed, and many people
Yes,
are not great managers of things.
I agree with
That's
that.
interesting.
So probably you have bad managers that are handling these kind of things. I don't know.
That I can
and-
see.
But yeah, so yeah.
But then you can't quit the job. You know what I mean?
No.
That's the other crappy
Yeah.
ordeal.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to be a conspiracy theorist, but right now they're in Davos, 52 or 53 world leaders all sitting around planning our futures.
Yeah.
And what is the plan? Canada is now euthanizing. Canada is disarming the country. There's so much going on. What's the big plan? So there's talk of the, what do you call it? The vaccine causing sterility in females. And so is it is it, they're trying to control the population? Like there's so much information coming forward.
Some of that stuff doesn't make as much sense though, because most of those, like, we're on a bit of a population decline for where, like I don't know whether you'd want to get rid of. I don't know whether you'd want to make people sterile. Like our birth count is going down. Like I'm not sure. I'm not sure who would win out of that.
The only thing is if you see it happening among your community or something, and you decide that you would like to have the right to deny this based on what you're seeing,
Yeah.
or what you're feeling, I just think that you have that right. I don't know.
It's a tough one. Like you look at the way that, like, vaccines in schools and kids, everybody's going to have their vaccine, and then otherwise you get an exemption from it.
You see, I had a vaccine when I was a child, and I still have the scar from it.
Yeah, me too. That's why you don't have monkeypox.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But
That and the gay sex.
from the I love how he injects that stuff.
Apparently, the chickenpox vaccine protects you from monkeypox.
Okay, I'm done now. Okay.
Yeah.
No, what I was going to say is the vaccine that they gave us for this COVID shit
Yeah.
wasn't even FDA approved.
Yeah.
It was rushed to whatever, or however many years they were building it without us knowing,
Yeah.
but it wasn't approved, and we all got it anyway.
Yeah.
So what is happening? Why? And do you know where COVID came from? Have we figured it out yet? Why haven't we? There's all sorts of stories, but
Yeah, it's. I think this. Yeah,
who's
this
keeping secrets here?
This is a wacky time.
Yeah, that part is certainly interesting for sure. Yeah, I'm not. Like, I mean, it seems like it probably came from a lab somewhere.
Follow the money.
Yeah. Well, the money. I don't like what. And what does the money actually want? I mean, the money doesn't want us all to die out. I don't think. I don't know. I don't have the money.
Well, that's the thing. We don't
I
know,
get
man.
it. No.
You know, and yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, and everyone wants to say that they're not a conspiracy theorist. I ask questions like, why does any country have an intelligence unit? Why do they have spies? Is it not to figure out what the other people are talking about?
Yeah.
Is it not to discover new things? And you kind of go, okay, well, that says a lot about conspiracies, and and then you wonder where some of these people get their information, and I don't know. And I think that what happens is just that you're either left or right, either you're up or down, and you feel more comfortable one way or you feel more comfortable this way. And I feel like I would never like that decision is so real. And and if for some reason I feel like if I just don't feel comfortable with something, it doesn't mean I'll never do it. It just means that right now doesn't feel right. And in my opinion, I don't imagine that anyone out there is getting sick based on someone who doesn't have a vax.
Yeah, I mean, with further information,
The original
you
plan.
change your mind.
Yeah, I mean, the original plan was that you get the you wanted to get the vaccine, and then people would stop getting sick.
Right,
For
that
sure,
didn't happen.
Because it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So who's telling you what and why?
And everybody's still getting sick or not or whatever. I have no. It's so wacky, and personally, I don't think I trust necessarily someone who calls the administration the Food and Drug Administration. It's the same place, man. What?
Yeah,
These should be two arguing entities.
Yeah.
That's America, but yeah. Right?
Yeah, I know. I realize that, but yeah.
It's America
They play
is
a huge
different
role.
for sure.
But they do play a huge role in
God,
the world and the decisions that are being made.
Yeah.
It's
And there's a lot of those information sort of overlap and intersect and stuff like that.
and yeah, and
You certainly want to find higher purpose. Like since the beginning of when we could start putting together, we all wanted to go like, geez, there's got to be a higher purpose to all this stuff. And probably like the lights turn out and we go, there wasn't.
yeah, maybe,
like,
yeah, totally.
There should have been a God and there should have been somebody pulling the strings. And then if we all find out that there wasn't.
Well, the best part of this is there's no consciousness, so you'll never know.
No. Like I don't, I don't remember very well before I was born for sure.
You don't?
No.
Unlucky bastard.
That is another podcast.
But people say they do, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we want to go towards stuff and we want to go towards plans and like certainly looking at films and this big machine and the way that you do stuff, in order to stay on track, you really have to be focused. And our governments they're doing so many things. They're really not very focused for like if you're going to have somebody come up with a plan.
Yeah.
They aren't necessarily the first guys you're going to call to like, let's have a world plan. We're going to get...
But it's like, if you watch some of this WEF stuff, you come across the word elite being used constantly. And I think...
What's WEF? I'm not sure.
WEF, the World Economic Forum.
Oh, okay.
So they're the people that are in Davos right now. It's 3,000 of the world's great elites, the great elites, not just the elites.
And 52 world leaders.
Yeah, and
Heads of their
they're all there discussing the future of the world.
Sure.
Perhaps they may be
Which is
the people-
reasonable.
Yeah.
Like if I was ruling the
Perhaps-
world, I wouldn't want to be in a vacuum. I'd want to say like, hey, do you guys want to get together and talk and figure if we can start?
Like I think that these people might be the ones that should be there discussing some things, except I sometimes believe that perhaps they walk past us the same way we walk past homeless or something. I don't want to say that I'm like totally rude to all the homeless, but generally speaking, we all see several homeless people perhaps in a day, depending on where you live.
They hold you up to a different level.
And yeah, and you know, you feel like delegating your dollar to this guy or her, but not all of these people, and you ignore a lot of them. And I imagine, in a lot of ways, the way we live on those terms, I think maybe these elites, whether they're good or bad people, I'm not saying, but perhaps they walk around in a different avenue. They don't see us the same way as they see themselves. I don't know. So you just decide on whether you trust it or not.
And they have a particular agenda that they're not sharing with you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which maybe a director shouldn't share the agenda with the PA. The only difference is the PA can bow out if they need to, for some stupid reason. Why they would do that, I don't know. But I don't know. Yeah, it's a fucking crazy.
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one. Yeah, because I love a lot of people that are on one side, and I love a lot of people on this side, and it's hard to argue with any of them. There's like I think that we're all living in a gray zone, and with everything, the way we parent, the way we eat, the way we think about working out every day, or whatever it might be. You know, we live in like a really gray zone. It's hard to know the answer, and I think you know, yeah.
And I wouldn't know it. I don't know. I think it'd be very hard to organize the whole thing.
But somebody's trying.
I mean, and you know, boost. Now we got a boost. Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Anybody just wants to go online and look up the World Economic Forum. You can go on their website. You can see the leaders that belong to it. They're actual members. And they're all coming to the same agenda. They're all trying to do the same thing.
And it's just funny how the world now is being divided. You could say it's among maybe the civilization or the society actually did it, or maybe they did it. I don't know, but somebody else owns the media. I don't. And you know, we are suddenly everything is political. People are calling podcasters or musicians or something like they're on the right. I don't know. Are they?
Yeah.
Like I never knew what I was, and I don't know if I still do. But
I think
based on my opinion, somebody might just decide for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Canadian American thing. There's something nice about being able to choose your side. Like the Americans are really good. Like you're this way or that way.
Maybe, sure.
And probably we are a little bit with are you conservative or liberal, or I guess.
Right.
Yeah, but some people are just stoners and have an opinion based on some shit they were thinking about. Like, you know, some people work all day and have no time to think. So their opinion, they still have one. Just whether, I don't know, is it valuable? Can you really call them left or right? I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
They don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and even if they decide, I'm right because I like guns. But yet he has liberal views on every other fucking aspect. It's so hard to tell, you know? So I think we all live in the gray, but somebody is trying to define it, or, you know, anyone with just a strong opinion. We're all on social media and people are like barfing constantly. I don't know. Fuck.
It's an interesting world.
Yeah.
I think I don't know is the best answer today. I think it's the only answer that is plausible.
That you don't know.
That nobody knows anything. So if they make the decision yes or no, how do you judge it? How do you judge them for that?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's an interesting thing for sure.
It is.
Interesting that people, like I said, for me it was everybody wanted to be an individual, and jabbing somebody in the arm.
But we have the right. We have the right to be an individual, don't you think? Rights and freedoms.
There's an illusion of that for sure, but I don't know whether.
Yeah, but society's an illusion too, don't you think? I mean, if we as soon as you're born, it's not. I mean, I'm glad that I wasn't born in the bush and I got to fend for myself against the monkeys and the whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But everything's kind of decided in a way for you.
Yeah.
And I don't know. But we're getting tighter as we go. The law's getting tighter. There's less and less freedom to move or feel. I don't know.
Social controls used to be a lot easier, I think. You control, give one person one job. They had it laid out for the rest of their life.
That's their problem. Things are changing, and they can't control us like that anymore.
Yeah.
They sent us all to the same school. We learned all the same things. We all got the same job working in a factory or whatever it was you're doing.
Yeah.
And we were controllable. And now we're not.
Yeah.
What do you think, Lorin? What do you think?
Let's talk about flat Earth. Let's talk about guns.
Oh, God.
Well, yeah, flat Earth is good. The guns one is interesting. I was listening to Charlie. I really like Charlie Taylor.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
Yeah, so good.
That was interesting stuff of going there.
And don't you think that he would be the best opinion to listen to rather than all the rappers? Not rappers. I don't mean like actual rap people that just spill their words.
Mouthpieces.
Yeah, the mouthpieces. Yeah.
And at the same time, that we have a country attempting to disarm legally owned guns. They're taking away the penalties for violent gun crime. They're actually lessening it. So they're taking guns out of the hands of legal gun owners, but now if you use a gun
illegal
in a crime, you don't get as bad a punishment now. It's the oddest thing. There's
a city versus country view on the guns thing for sure, and there's like the guns that are appearing in the schools now, which tend to be the kids' parents' guns.
That's also American.
Well, it just happened.
Like I'm looking at the
It just happened here.
Oh no, in Toronto, like Robin's soccer match didn't happen because the other school was on lockdown because somebody was at the gun.
Okay.
Like these guns are showing. There's certainly some city. I've certainly noticed. Like in COVID, I went and lived up north, and there's a different, which are very conservative up north, and the city tends to be more liberal. I certainly think that's part. Sure. Which I live in the city more now, and that's all people that. Like you live on top of each other. Even here, there's more room. Like in Cambridge versus the city, and so we think about our neighbors in a different way than when I lived up north during COVID, which you think of neighbors, which is basically like let's not see them so much. But my neighbor, like I'm 14 feet away from her and her family, and if they don't like it, it's a real problem. We all really got to get along in a different way.
Right.
And the majority of the money and power and people are in the cities. So you're trying to. That's the bigger issue is trying to deal with that first, and then looking out for exceptions and stuff as you move away from the city. And nobody likes the fact that the city has all this power, but that's where people live. The majority of people live in like three cities in this country.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you go, well, geographically they shouldn't be making all the things, but they're kind of running a lot of the show here. And that's not to say that we're not super reliant on everything else that happens outside of the city as well, which is the economic base of everything in this country for sure. But the gun thing I was listening to Charlie's take on that, and he lives in the city too, or I think, doesn't he? Doesn't he? Is he? I don't remember if he has kids or not.
I believe, yeah.
It was interesting looking like your first and foremost is dealing with that. For me, was like I kind of want to get the guns out of the school. Like that's a good place to start.
See, what's interesting though is that the Canadian government's willing to spend $1 billion or $2 billion for a buyback program where they're going to purchase back legally owned guns that are in the hands of people that do not use them criminally,
Yes.
where they could spend a billion or 2 billion
Yes.
to prevent guns from being smuggled into the country. They can prevent gangsters from having guns on the street.
Yes.
We work with a lot of cops,
Yeah.
and I can't say that every conversation I have with cops, but I can say, 6 out of 10 will tell me that that guy has a gun in his car.
Right.
They absolutely know who has the guns and can't do anything about it because their hands have been tied legally. You cannot approach anyone anymore and say, "What are you doing downtown?" and let me see what's in your car,
Right.
despite the fact they know they're there. Right. So if the Canadian government would just leave illegal gun owners alone, they're not the ones going out doing crime, and put that money into preventing crime, we would be a whole lot better off.
The money argument is always an interesting one, and you put that into film perspective as well. Of if we didn't have the crane, maybe we'd have better food.
Yeah, totally.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like everybody's sick over here. Why don't we just not have the crane for one day and we could all eat really, really well? But it certainly, I think that argument is a tough argument because money itself is somewhat arbitrary anyway. But it's the reallocation of funds towards other things is not a straight, well, give me that $2 billion over to here. Sure. But you kind of go like, oh, fuck, why are you spending all that money on the crane? We could be eating properly.
Right.
And I think it's harder than.
Well, what's interesting about that, you may need that crane to get that shot. Mm-hmm. You don't need to take guns out of the hands of legal gun owners.
Well, I don't think I'm educated as well enough on that.
Right.
But I just sort of from a pure argument standpoint, those are always tough arguments.
Right.
And especially because then people go like, well, you could use the $2 billion if you didn't take the guns away from people, you could use the $2 billion and stop crime from happening. Yeah. Then take the $2 billion that you didn't use to take the guns away and get people educated better. Then grab the $2 billion that they didn't do, and we put that over into mental health issues. And then you go like, and then you go, that's $6 billion right there. And it's not a switch over. I'm not saying it's wrong.
I have a hard time not thinking about putting that money in other avenues. The mental health thing is great. Other things are great. But to take it out of the hands of legal gun owners who are not using the guns in crime. So it's a political thing. When you can have somebody stand at a podium and say that we're going to take the guns out of the hands of Canadians, those who are frightened of guns go, oh, God, thank you, they're doing something about the guns.
It's interesting because I don't think I am, because I'm probably one of those people that are a bit frightened of the guns, but I don't think of it that way. Like I think about it. Let's do a hierarchy of issues that need to be taken. For me, it's like, let's get the guns out of the schools. That's one of the high ones there.
Yeah.
Like I would say that I'm pro-vaccine. I'm also pro-hunter, like responsible hunting. Yeah. But I'm not pro-trophy hunting, even though trophy hunting probably needs to be done. There's some good arguments around that, killing lions. But I'm not cool on posing with dead lions so much.
There's a little bit of strange stuff.
There's some strange stuff. But I have like good friends who are like really into hunting, and like they're ethical hunters.
Sure.
And I don't want to take that. It doesn't seem like some of these laws then get obfuscated by going, well, it's like, well, why don't you just use your other gun for 2 seconds, kill all the animals you want, and let's just sort it with this one little problem that they don't look like fucking automatic weapons.
Right.
Like let's go with that. You use your long rifle for a little bit, which no one's going to try to take away anywhere if you're a hunter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, they're taking away a lot of hunting guns.
They are. And I have shout out to Leslie Beller. I've got some people who are really active on that, but on that I really like it. But I think that there's before we go right into disarming populations, it doesn't. I don't know. It's an interesting one for me because I am pro hunt.
It's a creeper. So what they're doing is they'll ban this, then they creep up, get another one, then they creep up and get another one.
I think that I have less faith in the power and effectiveness of people getting together and being able to do that. Like, I think that takes long plan, which in some ways, if they had a long plan, I might go like, I feel more that we're rudderless sometimes.
You can't even buy a handgun in Canada right now.
You can't.
You can't buy a handgun in Canada anymore.
No.
There's no store that can sell a handgun to anyone. You cannot purchase one anywhere in Canada.
I would go. Yeah. That doesn't worry me too much.
No, I understand that.
And I think that's cool as fuck to go and shoot a handgun and go to the range.
It's fucking awesome.
Like, I think it's really cool.
It's awesome, and it's
Let's go.
Yeah, I would do that. That would be good fun.
Next time you're back.
Yeah.
There's just so many different arguments. A knife argument. It's just, you could rip out a butcher knife and start cutting your fucking husband easier than.
Which is just the reload time on with the knife. Okay, so I'm not educated enough other than it's an interest. I still gravitate back to, there's big problems that if you handle. Everybody wants to be an individual, and I think you have to, which is cool. I think we all want to be thinking of ourselves as individuals for sure. I do myself. But if you handle everything like, okay, let's bring the next of the 1 million people in. How would you like to handle this problem? Okay, like there's just the bureaucracy that's involved that, as opposed to what you do with customer service, which is like, no, you can't get the upgrade on your cell phone. We don't do that. And then you go like, can I speak to someone who will let me get the iPhone 14 on this? And then you have to jump, and that puts you into a different thing.
But and see, that's I think that we're all in a bit of an I don't know thing. I think that we have our opinions based on something. Oftentimes it's based on a bias, thought. I want to play with my gun.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
So that's sort of how most opinions are I think kind of rise.
Yeah.
However, I think that if we're going to talk about film or ADing, talk to you. If we're talking about guns, talk to Charlie. We got to get the opinions off people, not like people who actually understand guns and understand this stuff.
Yeah,
I understand that, and it's a good point. However, I wouldn't want to go to gun enthusiasts, somebody like Charlie or a police officer or whatever, just to get their opinions on gun safety and gun violence. I'd love to speak to just any person, people that don't have guns. What is it about guns that frighten you? What is it about?
But I agree with that. But that is where their knowledge of guns ends.
Right.
It's
good to know where that is.
Yeah, I guess.
It's good to know where that is, and then you educate them.
Well, here's an interesting one that's come out of all this stuff as well, that I found is how do you get someone to change their mind? Like, can you get people to change their mind?
It's really hard.
Well, that's right. Well,
no, I'm kidding.
No, I know, but it's interesting. Like the Charlie thing, let's talk to Charlie. Yes. Sorry, Charlie, we're using you a lot, but you're cool.
Some of us think that.
Some of us think. But one of the things that I've learned, one of the things that has sort of been interesting that I found is, and where it's, social media things, like can I change your guys' mind? Can you change my mind? And if you can't, like if it's like, no, I just need to tell you how it is.
Right.
Then there's no point. So it'd be interesting to find somebody that could change Charlie's mind, and that would be the guy to talk to.
And then Charlie just sells his business and opens up a vegetarian truck.
I trust that guy.
Totally.
Yeah. I trust that guy. Huge.
Massive.
Like
agreed.
Best armor in the world.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But if you could find someone that could change his mind, and I don't mean like completely change his mind. It just like a lot of these conversations we come in, and and this whole thing is like we're anti-vaxxers, we're not anti-vaxxers, we do want it, and I don't. There's no movement on this stuff, and I try to like look to see where. For myself, what's interesting is how can you change my mind? How do people change? How can you make someone change? And that seems to be interesting.
You know what I think? I think if somebody didn't want you working in the office, they would talk badly about you or make you very popular in a way that you feel shady, you know?
Yep.
And then we all kind of look at Lorin, what the fuck, man? I heard that he this, I heard that he that. And the only way for you to get out of it is to defend yourself.
Right.
But if I don't want to listen to you because I don't like you, you're just out.
It's easy to denigrate someone for sure, but then if you can get past that level, then you become unflappable a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like so you become so good, like in the end you can't take down Charlie. What is a lot about Charlie? We should have had Charlie here. Charlie.
Man, it would have been so much better.
But you know what I mean? Like that guy's you want to if you rise above that. So I go like, hey, Randy's dangerous. We go like, oh fuck, well we better not have Randy. But then if you get to the point where you go like, oh no, Randy's not, and everybody agrees that Randy's not, then you become even better.
Right.
There's a layer upon a layer upon a layer.
That's a mind change. And you're dealing with a lot of people that don't think in layers.
No.
Perhaps.
No. And
that's interesting. So then you have someone at the podium spouting off about gun violence, and he's changing the minds of people who have nothing to do with guns and have never held one, but are frightened at night when they lock their doors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Let's get rid of the guns. That's what they're doing.
I had a friend.
They're changing minds.
A friend of mine and her mother had to. They had to somehow remove the guns of my friend's mother's mom, grandpa. Mm-hmm. He was not fit to have his license any longer, or not fit. It's that he's just old and not remembering. He's like, they're just like, just so you know, his license is about to be suspended. Blah blah blah. We have to do like a recheck on him and all this stuff. And they decided that he shouldn't have them. He doesn't want to give up his guns, but they now have to get rid of these guns, physical guns. Mm-hmm. They're just like hunting rifles and stuff. And these two ladies they didn't know how to pick one up. And they were so frightened of it just because these things are known to them as the main killer in all the stories they watch. Mm-hmm. And they have no idea, given they don't know that whether it's loaded or unloaded or whatever, and they might be afraid of the trigger, or is something else going to set this off? At every movie I've seen, you drop a gun, it goes. If they were educated prior, perhaps, that in Canada, hunting is a very main source of things, then maybe these ladies would feel more comfortable just grabbing the butt of the gun and the, whatever. And
that said, though, I'm kind of on the thing is if you're not educated about firearms and they're laying right there on the table, leave them alone. Call somebody that is, let them handle it. Don't touch them. There's no sense.
Absolutely.
There's no need to pick them up. Again, this old guy, they could have been loaded. How do they know? And if they're not, if they don't know, just don't touch them.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
So I'm on that side of that. But I think that a lot of people's aversion to firearms comes from personal experience. You'll hear people, well, so-and-so was shot. I know that person or whatever. That's fine. But you watch TV and you hear about the mass shootings and it goes on and on, whatever. And it's just personal fear about something they don't know. They're uneducated. They're not aware of what guns can do. I have guns, Lorin.
No,
I could put them right here on the table. They don't do a damn thing.
No.
They just sit there and do nothing.
No.
Unless you get the sudden desire.
Don't do that. So guns are not the problem.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I still see when I'm seeing them in the school and they're coming from mom and pop.
absolutely.
Yeah,
which is what
but
I'm seeing a lot lately.
But then the gun isn't the problem. It's the parent. It's the mental
It's
health.
the person that's storing that firearm.
Well, and then this goes back. This goes back to then it's an individual. It's once again wanting to solve things on an individual basis when really the only effective way to do it is on on a mass basis. So again, because it's again like think about the rollout of teaching old ladies to use guns.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You know, they're like, okay, we're gonna come in, we're gonna have a class. Okay, who's here? Who's not here? She's still there. She didn't come down. She thought we were doing bingo today.
This fucking education system sucks.
Listen, we gotta get it. We gotta get a gun in her hand, and that's that individual thing again. It's interesting. That's what I'm trying to. I'm finding fascinating.
But just because one guy gets drunk and kills somebody in his car doesn't mean we should all not drive.
No, I agree.
That's a decent point.
Yeah, no, I agree. But we shouldn't say that some people are. Yeah,
but I mean, now hold on. Not to want to argue that, but what about a car gets you to work? A gun isn't getting you any more than probably shooting at the range. If we were all using our cars just to slide corners and fucking rip around recreationally,
which we do.
Fuck yeah.
Well, that's the car argument's always interesting too. Of them going, you know, at what level is good to be doing.
Well, maybe all of our guns should only go 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Is your lady upstairs yet? Is she here?
You gonna come here now? Yeah. Come, just walk in the door. Sorry.
No, that's cool.
You just come.
We've never taken a call on episode
really?
21, first call.
Awesome.
Love it.
So the gun thing is interesting. I think that there's something to be. I was thinking of the controversy that I could have out of it, and certainly I do still. You know, the idea is you do have to have these general solutions. From my take is like as I think about how you organize things, like nobody goes near the edge of the cliff, except if we're very clear about the people who don't. So everybody doesn't go there. Right? I like that. I think you have those general rules and then you make exceptions for them, but you don't make exceptions easily. So you make it hard for, like, listen, I really got to make sure that Charlie can have guns. And then he jumps through hoops and goes, dang, you don't know all the things I got to do. And it's like, absolutely. So now he gets to do it. And you could do that too if you wanted to go, and so could Nana. Nana could go do that as well. But we don't want, generally speaking, Nana shouldn't have a gun and know to do it.
Right.
Now, generally speaking, everybody should get vaccinated if that's the plan, and the efficacy of the vaccines is sort of less important than the fact that we've got a plan that this is what it was going to be. And some people should fight themselves out of that and get monoclonals. But you can't say like, well, there's all these other things that you could get monoclonals, because monoclonals take half an hour, and you have to sit there with a nurse one-on-one, and doing 30 million people or 25,000 people is not tenable when maybe vaccines are going to help out.
The operative word being maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it's not about it being the right solution. It's about being that solutions tend to work better, I think, when they're general solutions. So like we'll get rid of all the ones that look like assault rifles, unless you can prove that there's a way.
The operative word being look.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah. We say like, let's get rid of those ones. Like that's a general rule to be doing, because in the city, you know, discerning like, well, that guy's good and that guy's bad and that guy's good thing and that one's, oh, don't worry, that's not a clip. Like that's we sort of don't have time on all those things.
Now we can all agree at the very least that if they get to Nerf guns, we've got a fucking problem.
Well,
with
they're
leadership.
already taking away paintballs.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sakes! Really? Wow.
What other controversial things have you guys talked about? I wanted to weigh in on the vaccines. The guns, I don't have enough to. I'm not educated enough to say. I do want them out of the fucking schools and that does make me.
Same.
And I'm pro hunting. I'm pro a whole lot of stuff. Yeah. But I'm pro looking.
I'm pro taking it out, showing your boy. Fucking show him it's loaded. Always.
You know, my guns are locked up. They're legally stored. Everything else, I go right to the nth degree. Did you know that in Canada, any restricted firearm owner is vetted 24 hours a day, every day, once a day for every 24 hours. There she is. Oh. Every 24 hours, I'm vetted through the RCMP computer.
Oh, really?
Every 24 hours.
I like that.
Yeah. So there you go. Every single handgun owner in this country is vetted every 24 hours.
I like that.
And if you did something, if you went up and beat up your lady and you got charged with a crime, it goes into that computer and they'll come and get your guns. So
we like that. Right?
100%.
Yeah.
I have no issue. I have no issue doing licensing. I have no issue taking training and being responsible with that firearm.
Yeah, there's some people on the road that should take more, lesson in their car.
Yeah. 100%.
Well, now that we're getting intense amounts of noise because
based on somebody's lady showed up.
Yeah.
You, before we close up shop, and you will come back. I hope you will come back.
I'll come back.
Talk about more controversy.
Yeah. And then I'll have something to promo.
Whoa, good.
Yeah.
And I was hoping to there was a couple things that I was hoping to get done, and they're not ready for me to fucking promo. That's one of the reasons I was sort of stalling to make some of my things more interesting.
Oh, no.
Well, just like the word promo is like halfway there. Do you have anything halfway there that you'd like to promo right now?
Halfway?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, that's great, Lorin.
Please sign our table.
Yes.
Before you cruise.
Be great right there. Right. Yeah. I love that.
It's like a tag.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you have a bit of a unique thing.
We might see it on the train cars.
Put a little heart.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh, that's cute as fuck.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lorin Raine.
Thank you, cutie.
I love you guys. Man, that's awesome.
Well, honestly, thanks, man. I'm sorry I'm boring as fuck.
No,
but I really enjoy talking to you guys.
Ditto.
It's very, very good.
No, you got to come back. I love talking to you, Lorin.
It's good. It's good. Just good fun having a chit chat.
It is. It's great fun.
It really
and
is.
I don't give a shit about what the other people thinking.
Yeah.
You on
but
me,
you
D?
think that they're unhappy, is what you're saying.
Yeah, probably.
They're all falling asleep to your voice.
Yeah, they're gone. They're out.
Look into my eyes and just relax for a moment. I'm going to take you to a place. Just relax, taking a deep breath in and out.
I think everybody should comment on YouTube the end if they actually got to this point.
If you want me to read your book online, I can do that. Anything.
Anybody wants to get a hold of Lorin can get a hold of me, and I'll do it up. Okay,
Cool.
D, cut it.
Thanks, Jess.